Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
What is up, you crazy individuals? I am so pumped today. This is day 3 of the Epic Mock Draft 2025, and I brought in the heavy hitter, the beast, who's going to help us out with my man Ant from 49ers Cutback. How we doing, Ant?
Doing good. I'm excited for this. I've listened to the first couple days. You've done a great job. It's been a lot of interesting picks along the way, but I love the way that this thing is working. The fact that you have to negotiate with other GMs, the other podcasters, and you see some things that are interesting that I'm going to be excited about to talk about later too when we do some things, because it feels like there's runs. All of a sudden somebody takes somebody and then it's like run. Make sure we don't miss out on our D tackle or our cornerback or our wide receiver. And I think it's interesting. It comes out very realistic, which has been enjoyable.
Yeah, like you do all the mock drafts and the simulators, and they're fun. This is 32 podcasters representing 32 teams, trades, you name it. And it has been, so I don't want to spoil it. If you want to catch the whole series and go back and listen to it, it's on my feed or on YouTube or whatever else. We did all of day 1. We did all of day 2. We're about 5 hours into this mess, and now we got day 3. And so here is the summary. Again, don't want to spoil it for you. If you want to jump back, now is the time. But we have finished days 1 and day 2. We took Mike Green at pick 11. There were no trade backs. Board didn't go great. There was O-lineman there, but I don't think the 49ers will do this. This is a predictive mock. So I went Mike Green. I went upside. Day 2, we traded back. We traded 43 and 113 for 55, 86, and 214. I wanted that extra third. We took offensive tackle Josh Connerly at 55. Just an insane value. Perfect scheme fit. We took one of Ant's guys, defensive tackle, Florida State, Joshua Farmer. I had to get defensive tackle, a little bit of a reach, but I had to get that position fortified. Then CJ West fell to pick 86, so we went back-to-back defensive tackles. And Harold Fannin Jr., we wanted to go Jacob Parrish. He went to pick before us. We got sniped, settled on a premium player that is an extreme value pick, a little bit of a luxury pick, but that's what we got. So we got a defensive end, OT, 2 defensive tackles and a tight end, and now we're waiting on pick 138. Let me put the big board up. Here is how the 4th round has gone so far, and this thing is flying. We're going to go fast today. Some of the guys have gone off the board that we were hoping to scout, but so here's the issues we don't have, and this is where I'm going to pass it off to Ant. Cornerback, we don't have a third starting corner. Linebacker, major need. Offensive guard, we don't have. Still haven't drafted a running back. Still haven't drafted a wide receiver. Haven't touched safety. What are your thoughts on what we should be looking at positional-wise as far as biggest needs on this roster?
Yeah, I think you addressed defensive tackle pretty well so far. Getting CJ West, getting Joshua Farmer. It feels like we've got a 3-tech, we've got a 1-tech. We're set. We took care of the offensive tackle, which means offensive line is not as big of a priority right now, considering you got a very versatile offensive tackle. He swing at worst, and then probably something he could start at right tackle, maybe move into guard. There's a lot of potential there. Then you got the big hitter with the edge rusher. So I think you're right. I think it does come down to cornerback, linebacker. I think this is kind of the Robert Saleh area to go ahead and get athletic linebacker who can make a difference. And we're seeing those guys kind of go off the board as well. Some of those linebackers, Danny Stutzman went to Green Bay in this draft just a little bit ago in the 4th round. So you're seeing some of those guys go. I don't think it's a far cry or like a reach to say running back is also in this mix. I wouldn't call it a need per se, but there's still valuable running backs out there as well. So wide receiver, that is also a possibility. But I think cornerback and linebacker got to be 2 priorities in the next few picks.
Okay, so here's kind of my big board at those positions. If I'm looking at linebacker, Jeffrey Bossa is Jordan Birch just went, which was my last remaining second round player. He's my lowest second round grade. He just went. So that's going to take a huge, value pick off the board, which I would have liked him to fall, but probably we're going to take him here anyway. But anyway, so here's my linebacker pecking order, and I want Ant to jump in because we're building our short board. We're at pick 131 right now. We pick 138. So we have about 7 picks till we're up. I have Jeffrey Bossa clear by himself, followed by Teddy Buchanan a full round later, then Jack Kaiser and Kobe King. Is there a linebacker name that I need to include in this short list that we're hoping to fall?
You know what? I think out of the guys you just brought up, I'm thinking, Jeffrey Bossa is definitely the most acceptable at this position. I think he's the one that kind of stands out among everyone else. I do like Teddy Buchanan, but we don't have to get him at 138. I think you could wait until 160,
Agreed.
let's say. So you could go other value right now if you're not going to go Jeffrey Bossa. Other than that, there's some guys that are out there that if you really look at this draft, there are some dudes late in this draft that have that elite athleticism upside that you can get later on too that maybe could turn into something. So I think Bossa is kind of the guy that I would hone in on if we were going linebacker. Buchanan, we could go later.
Right. And shout out to Josh, our guy. He's at UFC 314 right now. Have a blast, my friend. Still checking in from the UFC event. I like that. So, okay, let's go corner then, which is definitely the biggest need. One of my rush crush guys, the highest corner by far, is Denzel Burke, Ohio State. I love him. He's my top-ranked corner. Justin Wally, Minnesota, got some medical issues, but man, he's awesome. Jason Marshall Jr., Florida. Zaw Frazier, one of those high upside guys. And then, I get into my later round corners that I probably wouldn't reach here. Corner's the biggest need. But of those 3-4 names I gave you, is there anybody I'm missing that we need to include in this conversation?
I don't think so. Not in this range. I think that's what's interesting is I think some of the corners that I was expecting to be here, I've already seen them go off the board. When I looked at the board for the 4th round, I seen a Noel Williams who's already off the board. And I thought maybe that would be a potential selection when we got here. Quincy Riley, who the 49ers met with, I think that would have been a dynamite 138, but he just went. So
Dorian
a little
Strong,
bit of a run.
Yeah, there's been a lot.
A run on corners here. So I think that you're looking at Burke, and I think it's like, okay, well, that's a pretty good talent here. It's maybe one of the last really solid players. I think with him and Bossa, right? It's like those guys, and then there's a little bit of a separation between the guys behind them. Talented guys, but you're definitely getting a late round corner. But think about it. This is what the 49ers do, right? Diamaro Lenore, 5th round. Darrell Luter Jr., 5th round. I know it doesn't always work out, but it is a spot they like to go. And even some of the ones that have really worked out have been 5th round picks. So this is not a far cry to go in this range between 138 and 160 corner and linebacker.
Yeah, that's what because if you get those two, if you get a linebacker and a corner, then you could just swing for the fences and do nothing but value picks after that. But man, you know what? One of the things that is insane, no quarterbacks have gone after the 1st round. There's only been 3 quarterbacks picked. So, the guys that are like Jalen Milroe, Will Howard, Tyler Show, Quinn Ewers, Riley Leonard, Curtis Rourke, none of those guys have gone. It's weird. And so I don't think the 49ers, I wouldn't mind going quarterback here. I think that there's value, and I believe in drafting quarterbacks every single year. But where does your kind of, okay, there's value. I have a 3rd round grade on Jalen Milroe. Shoot, he got invited to the actual draft to go in the 1st round. Is there a spot where it's just like, man, why not spend a late 4th round comp pick on a quarterback? Do you have that type of luxury? Do the Niners have the excess to be able to, the surplus picks to spend on? Because there's value there. Quinn Ewers would be a perfect fit in this system. I'm not a Quinn Ewers guy, but in the 4th round, I have a 3rd round grade on him.
Yeah, I think at some point, right, the value is just too much that you just have to go ahead and get the player because you never know when you're going to need a very solid player at any position. So if ever someone falls that's way high on your board, you just can't overlook it, right? What was it in, I think it was 2021 when the 49ers took Elijah Mitchell in the 6th round when they were supposed to go linebacker, but there was just too much value because they had a 3rd round grade on him. They're like, nope, we're getting Elijah Mitchell in this situation. So I think it does happen. And if we get, a little bit further in this draft and a couple of these guys are still sitting there, there's tremendous value. Now, we do have to consider that this would be quarterback 3, and the odds of them playing is not significant, but we've seen the 49ers roll through 3 quarterbacks in one season. So I'm not opposed to it, especially if you can get somebody that you have ranked, especially 2 rounds. If you got a guy that's you got ranked in the 3rd round and we're sitting in round 5 and he's available, it's very tempting.
Yeah. And so what I want to do, here in a second is get to, some more of these value picks and where do they play into this? Is it too much of a value to pass these guys up? Eric, appreciate you, Eric Oak. He says, where do you have Desmond Watson ranked? That's a Florida defensive tackle. I know who he is. He's not part of my 343 players. I think he's an undrafted free agent. Oh, Jackson Slater, local guy, just went off the board. Interior offensive lineman. Did you do any Desmond Watson? You're a Florida State guy, so I doubt you watched it.
I did watch a little bit of him. When you're talking to a guy that size, I mean, people are going to look at him, but he's one of those guys I haven't put a tremendous amount of value in watching. And I'm still working. I'm building my big board right now, so I'm still not to where I believe he's going to be drafted in my development. So I have looked at him. I get it. I get why people are so interested in him, but he's not one of my favorite prospects in this draft and not somebody that I would be really keen on drafting. So I haven't really done a ton of work on him.
Gotcha. Logan Brown just went, but we got our tackle. So I want positions we've taken. That's what I'm looking to come off the board. But I do respect these guys for doing the work, and Logan Brown should go in the 4th round. That's where I had him graded. Now, as far as biggest values go, these are the 3rd round grades I have left, okay? The quarterbacks we just talked about. DJ Giddens is my lone 3rd round running back out of Kansas State. Offensive tackles, which we already have, but Anthony Belton and Chase Lunt, they're still sitting there. Jeffrey Bossa, and then safeties, Billy Bowman and Craig Woodson. Now, I know I'm higher on Craig Woodson than everybody else. Not worth it here. But are any of those names kind of like, man, I know we talked Bossa, but the safety, Billy Bowman, Anthony Belton, Chase Lunt, DJ Giddens, should any of those be in the conversation for us here at pick 138?
I think it does get interesting when you're talking, if you look at Anthony Belton, he's an interesting guy because even though he's really large, he still moves pretty well for his size, and he's got a pretty good anchor. I think he's interesting because if you would have talked about this a month ago, he would have been a early 3rd round pick.
Yep.
Now here we are at early round 4, and he's potentially still available. I think there's value there. This is where I think Chase Lunt should go. So when it comes to that, he's prototypical for this position. We did draft tackle. The question is, do we think Chase Lunt can play guard? I think that's one of the question marks. I think the next guy you get offensive line-wise probably needs to have the potential to play guard. So I don't know about that, but I think Bossa is probably the one that I'm finding the most value with right now. I do like the running back as well. I don't know. I'm a little hesitant to go here. I'm thinking 160 might be running back time, potentially. Kind of that Jordan Mason area anyways.
Don't say Jordan Mason. I'm going to get my feels, Ant. I'm going to get sad. So Tobias asked this, don't we need another defensive tackle? We have two. We have Joshua Farmer and CJ West. Do you think the 49ers need to draft 3 defensive tackles this draft?
I don't think they have to. I think if there's enough value if there's somebody that slides, you always go ahead and get defensive linemen because you need a rotation anyways. And if you get somebody that you think can beat someone out, right? They can beat out Kalia Davis. They can beat out Evan Anderson. Or maybe you can turn away from one of those veterans. I think you do it. So you've got a 1 tech, you got a 3 tech. If you get someone with an elite skill set, you might think about it.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah, we could use 3 DTs, but let's plug some other spots. Savion Jones just went. So my 2 top edge guys, 3 really, were, Jordan Birch, and then it was Tyler Barrett, and then Savion Jones. Now we're down to my 5th, 6th, 7th round edges. So my top 4 round edge players are gone. If you did want to go defensive tackle, my highest ranked and 4th round grade is Yaya Black out of Iowa. I think he is fun watch. But a little bit too much of a luxury pick here. Now, if we're looking at just 4th round grades, as we are about 4 picks out, I have 2 4th-round running backs, Jarquez Hunter, he's a rush crush, Jadon Blue. Aronde Gadsden just went. I have a 4th-round tight end, but we don't need another tight end pick. We're good there. Pat Bryant is my only 4th-round wide receiver left. Mitchell Evans, tight end. Blake Miller, tackle Clemson. Teddy Buchanan, we've talked about. And then the corners, only Denzel Burke. He's a rush crush guy. Denzel Burke's the top guy on my board right now. If he falls, I think that's the accept button. But there's 2 safeties, Malachi Moore and Caleb Ranstraw. So this is the talent pool, but we're at the end of the 4th round. Like, we're through the original 4th round. We're now into comp picks at 135. We're picking 138. So we got 3 more guys to go off the board. And if we get Denzel Burke or Jeffrey Bossa, I'm going to be ecstatic. But I need you to add a number 3. So our top 2, we know who we're waiting for.
Right.
So, like, is it Pat Bryant, Teddy Buchanan, Kobe Hudson, DJ Giddens? Like, who is it? Do we have a number 3 or do we just have 2?
I think Pat Bryant is in the conversation.
Okay.
I really like him. He's a solid X receiver. He's not gonna dominate you with explosiveness. He's not going to wow you with his straight ahead speed. But if you're talking about a guy that can find a way to create separation at the top of his stem, and he's really good with his hand. I mean, he's got good hands, good around the boundaries. I mean, the footwork is phenomenal around the boundaries. He's good in the back of the end zone. I think there's a lot to like about him. He's one of those guys that's kind of sneaky, a lot like Jawan Jennings was. It wasn't nothing extremely athletic, but for whatever reason, he always got open. And I think that's who Pat Bryant is. I like the fact that he's got the ability to catch the ball away from his body. I think he would be a solid pick. So I think he could be the 3rd guy in the mix with those other 2, and it is 3 positions of need for the 49ers.
Right. That's huge. A question here, Rob D. Who are the other podcasters? They're team-specific podcasters for every team. So think about 49ers Rush for the 49ers. There are those for the Colts and the Packers and whatever else. So 32 very team-specific. It's called the Epic Mock or 25. So if you go on Twitter, if you're a Twitter person, or on YouTube, Epic Mock 25. They have a general broadcast that is announcing every single pick, kind of like a draft war room, and then there's a bunch of offshoots, kind of like what we are. So that's kind of where we are. Yeah, I don't know most of the other podcasters. Most of them have been great. Some of them, it's whatever. You learn pretty quick. It's funny because, I'm sending out all these trades to all these guys before the draft and after round 1, and like you learn real quick. Some of these GMs are not worth DMing. One, they get upset every single time. They don't respond or everything's offensive. And it's just like, okay. And I wonder if the NFL's like that, where it's just like, we don't call that team like that. Those guys, you just stay away from them. And the personalities come out. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. Do you ever call Jerry Jones? Do you want a monologue? I don't think. How much Johnny Walker has he had today? Those type of conversations. Anyway, NY Niner says, John, if he's there, take Pat Bryant. He's a 49er. You don't have X wide receivers on this team. Like, you have Brandon Ayuk, how long he's going to be out. You could start Jawan Jennings there, which is what they'll probably do, but he's not a true X. You're asking him to play out of position. Demarcus Robinson not his job either. Probably the next truest X, not the best football player. It's Tariq Owens, Terrell's son. But, like, you don't want him starting. Like, he's still got to develop. You need X wide receivers on this roster. You just don't have them. So I do think Pat Bryant is on the short list. He's on our 3. So Denzel Burke is our number 1 because corner's the biggest need. You do not have a number 3 corner starting on your roster currently. Jeffrey Bossa is number 2. He represents value and could be a starting linebacker. Pat Bryant is number 3, the wide receiver, Illinois. So those are the 3 that we're looking for on our short list here. Looks like a pick is coming in. They're changing the board. I think there was a trade, but that's okay. I don't mind that. But yeah, we're just a couple picks out. So we have our 3. Are you comfortable with the Burke 1, then Bossa 2, then Pat Bryant 3?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty comfortable with that because I do think corner is needed. But also I have a lot of faith in some linebackers. Like, we still have Teddy Buchanan that I think is a talented player. I like guys like Chandler Martin. I think he's another guy later. So I think that there are some guys still there, and I think the big one is you got Buchanan that you could potentially hit on. If Bossa went before we got to 147, we could easily take Teddy Buchanan there and feel pretty comfortable that we got a guy that's pretty solid to step in. I don't know, if he's going to play to the level of Jeffrey Bossa, but they're not that far apart. Maybe a round apart. We might have to reach a little bit to make sure we don't miss our linebacker.
Right. And so we have this question here. Who are the X wide receivers that are left? I think Anton Wells Jr. could be. Caden Prather, Jaden Lane could be. Keandre Lambert-Smith is definition X. I love him. Dante Thornton's gone. Theo Weiss Jr. played the X role in Missouri. You watch the Luther Burden tape. He's there. Zachary Franklin, he's an X. Rock Taylor could be, but prefer him as a Z. So there's still some X guys. And what I mean by X is this is the old-fashioned number one wide receiver. They can play on the line, and you can press them, and they can get off the line and stretch the field vertically. Those are the prerequisites for a X or number one wide receiver. Number one doesn't mean you're the first priority. That's the way that you align with almost all the formations, right? So Ayuk can do all those things. Now, Jawan Jennings is filling in at X, but he runs like a 4.7. So it's tough for him to stretch the field vertically, but he works because he wins all the jump balls. So he's not a traditional X. He's a slot wide receiver, a big slot, but he could play above because he's just so damn physical. Anything you want to add on that X wide receiver conversation?
Yeah, and a X receiver has got to be a guy that can win off the line because he's going to be on the line of scrimmage. With your Z receiver, they get a little bit of space. So if you got a guy that can't get off, press man, your Deebo Samuel that struggles a little bit with it sometimes, those guys, it helps them to be in a Z situation or in a slot. Where if you play an X, you got to have those release skills. And that's why that's an important thing to look at. John talked about the vertical nature of the X receiver. That's important. Then they can run every route. That kind of sets up the entire offense. They're also going to be out there all the time. When you're talking all your base sets, there's always an X receiver, but the releases are huge too. And that's one thing Brandon Ayuk is really good at.
Billy Bowman just went off the board, and the Houston Texans owner is not at the wheel. And so he got skipped. And so I'm putting our pick in now. 49ers number, just in case. So I'm putting in 49ers select. What's our pick number? 138. And that's CB Denzel Burke OSU. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm putting that in the chat and I have it queued up. I'm not going to send it right now, but I'm just like, look, man, if they're going to sleep at the wheel, it's my one chance to own it. You know what I mean? Eminem got us ready.
Looks like they took Dylan Sampson.
Oh, so Houston got their pick in. So it doesn't matter to me because it's not our guy. So that's good.
Right.
So let's see here. Sampson got picked a long time ago. Yeah, they're off. So whoever's there picking that, because I think the rule is if somebody times out, they give them the highest graded running back, no matter what, no matter how many. And so I think that's kind of where the issue is. But I'm just like, dude, I want to send this in. It's our turn, but I'm trying to be kind. I'm trying to be nice. We're being a little patient here, even though I don't want to be. But yeah, he's already gone. I get a little territorial here. LaQuaint Allen is who they gave him. LaQuaint Allen. I freaking love it. Where did I even have LaQuaint? I know who he is, but nah, he wasn't one of my guys. He didn't even make my undrafted free agents list. So Billy Bowman, LaQuaint Allen, I love it. Denver's on the clock. And I'm just like, man, it's 7:21. Can we pick? Like, I don't want to be that guy. There's two guys here I love.
Right. I mean, that's a good thing, right? We have two guys we love, and we know we're going to get one of them.
Can 49ers submit pick or no? I'm trying to be kind. I'm being a little pushy. Oh, they said yes. All right, cool. Done. It's submitted.
Cody Simon.
Okay, Cody Simon. Good pick. We got the 49ers on the clock. We got our pick in before we were on the clock. We were ready. Cornerback Denzel Burke. He's a rush crush, baby. What are your thoughts? I love this. I'm very excited. We needed a corner. This dude fits what the 49ers do. Talk to me just a little bit about what you think about Denzel Burke.
Yeah, I think he's got really good feel. And that's one of the first things that I noticed when I watched him. It felt like he felt comfortable in zone coverage. And a lot of times you get guys out there and they're really good when it comes to man, but they don't feel comfortable in zone. But he looks comfortable when he's out on the field. I think he's got a pretty good back pedal. He's got a good drive. He can get on the football. He's good about getting out of his break. So they are getting a very smart, intelligent IQ player who looks comfortable in zone coverage, who I think has more skills than just that. But you're talking about another guy that can come up and make plays and be a boundary defender as well. I think he's a solid impact player. I feel really comfortable with him at 138. I think that's tremendous value. I think even if he would have went in the third round, I think that would have been great value for Denzel Burke. So I like the selection a lot. And I think the 49ers depth at cornerback just got a lot better.
Yeah, man, I'm very excited. One of my rush crush guys, right? Like guys that I feel I'm higher on than consensus. 5'11", 186, a little bit lighter, but he plays tough. He played 4.48 speed, 1.50 acceleration, which is a 10. So his 10-yard burst is the fastest or of the fastest of all the corners. Isaiah Bond just went to the Vikings. Wow, interesting. He's 22 years old, excellent in the run game, not afraid to fill run lanes, and will lay the boom on opposing running backs. Elite acceleration, incredible experience, 46 starts. He started at Ohio State as a freshman, and that was a loaded Ohio State team. Good ball skills, 28 pass breakups, 4 picks. You'd like more interceptions, but he gets his hands on a lot of passes. Smooth on the field, great hips and feet. Off-man coverage is his specialty. That's good for us in a cover 3-quarter scheme. Against Oregon, he struggled big time the first time they met this year. The next game, played lights out. They destroyed Oregon that game. Just a tall, athletic corner that plays with a lot of confidence and physicality. Played through a hamstring injury. I like that. Don't like that he had a hamstring, but I like that he played through it, didn't take business decisions, and got out there and did what he had to do. Terrion Arnold, one of the players that I thought he was similar to. If you look at just his measurable speed, all that stuff. Inish Rakestraw, who went in the second, third round last year. Duncanville kid, what's up? But 49ers fit, he's a 9 out of 10. I had him ranked ahead of Noel Williams by 1 spot. I like both those guys. But this physical, tackling, could kind of do it all guy, he'd be the perfect number 3 corner for us. And he would come in nickel situations but play outside. Demo goes inside. He's an outside corner at heart. That's kind of where he's going to be. So in the chat, y'all tell us how you feel about drafting cornerback Denzel Burke, who I've been super, super high on. And man, we are not too far, man. We're up here again and about 5 picks. So Anthony, we're going to carry over our picks from our big board that we had last, but I want to hear what other people have to say about the Denzel pick. What are we looking forward? Man, we're 5 picks out. So we're kind of close to where this goes quick, man. So Anthony, what are we looking for coming up?
I think we're looking at Jeffrey Bossa. You know, I think Cody Simon went off the board. I think we do need to get a solid linebacker. And I think that he's probably, one of the top guys that's available. And he's a position of need. We know that John Lynch at the Pro Day met with Jeffrey Bossa. They talked a lot. So I think that he fits. He's a guy that's got good instincts, especially in coverage. The 49ers do value coverage linebackers. And he could fit. And this guy could easily slide in day one at Sam linebacker, go in and compete and win that job. And then as long as they can get a little bit more out of D. Winters, your linebacker core, young, but still looks pretty good. I like his size. I like his IQ. I think he would be a dynamite pick at 147.
Gosh, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. It's fun whenever you get these players, and I'm just like, I hope that we could, figure some of this out. and land some of these guys. And that's kind of the cool thing right here. Juke says Noel Williams is better. I love both of them. Who do you have higher on your board, Noel Williams or Denzel Burke?
I have Denzel Burke higher. Denzel Burke was one of the first guys that I was like really a huge fan of, but I think it's pretty close. I think Noel Williams has got some ability when it comes to ball skills and stuff that I really like, but I just prefer Denzel Burke's, like, the way he feels so comfortable in zone coverage. But he just reminds me of that dog, and somebody brought it up, in chat, some of the guys that he reminds them of, and they said that it was Riley Moss out of Iowa, and I thought that was a pretty good, comparison there. So I thought that was solid, and that does give kind of those vibes. I think he's a really solid player, but I think both those guys are close. I think there's a lot of players in this draft that are like razor close when it comes to positions, but I would prefer Denzel Burke, but it's really close.
Yeah, I have them back to back. I mean, they're stacked right there. My favorite thing about Noel Williams is he has the most experience of any player in the secondary that is going to be drafted this year. Like, he has just played some ball. Physicality, him and Denzel, again, back to back in my board. I like those guys. Right here in Y-Niners, I like Burke. I love DBs that tackle, and this dude brings the hammer. Yes, 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 yes. Jeff, his run ability is very solid. That's a side conversation. Yeah, right here. Burke is similar to Riley Moss. Shout out to Brian Steele. That was well said. He says, can you do your best Mel Kiper? Are you an impressionist?
I'm not a Mel Kiper guy, even though, you hear the guys, he's the top 10 pick thing, right? You got the whole thing that he did with Todd McShay there for a while, and then they had the comedian that used to do it. Right, Todd, outside line. Yeah, I can't do it good, but his sayings are just hilarious. I love me some Mel Kiper. He cracks me up.
I'm a fan. I disagree with a lot of his evaluations, but you have to respect him. You just have to. Like, this whole industry started with him. Who the hell's Mel Kiper? You remember that clip, right? But yeah, no, I love Mel. I'm not the best at impersonations, but my thing is he spits everywhere. He doesn't breathe, and he's so animated about everything. And so right here, you got a linebacker. Like, he just keeps going all the time and just never breathes. But yeah, I love Mel. I listen to First Draft sometimes whenever I want to laugh, but I don't take notes from his takes ever. And that's okay. That's okay. So here we are. We're at pick. Mello Dotson just went. Thor Griffin, Quay Robinson, Isaiah Bond, and Jake Roberts. Thor Griffin. You gotta love the name. You just have to. Where did I have Thor? I don't think I finished my write-up on him. I was pretty late on him, but that's okay. So here's my kind of big board for what we're looking at. We're a couple picks out. Jeffrey Bosses at the top. That is the biggest need that the 49ers have left. Pat Bryant, I would love that. Kobe Hudson, running back DJ Giddens, Jarquiz Hunter, Jadon Blue, Teddy Buchanan. I think those are my top two linebackers. But you still have a guy like Jay Higgins, and I know Ben's out there watching. What do you do with Jay Higgins? Because his tape is day 2. One of the worst testing linebackers in the history of the combine. I knocked him down a couple rounds, and then I kind of bumped him back up a round. What do you do with Jay Higgins out of Iowa, linebacker? Freak. I mean, just amazing tape. But golly, he would be the slowest linebacker in the NFL day 1.
Yeah, I don't think he really fits the 49ers draft profile when you're talking about linebacker. And, one of the things that Robert Saleh really goes for, and even, the 49ers in general, is the more athletic upside, right? Last year, it was a little bit of a stretch for Tatum Bethune because he was a 4.7 guy. That's why they waited until the end of the 7th round to go ahead and pick him, because he had some traits they wanted to see if they could get something out of it. But normally they go with guys that are a lot more athletic. I think he's a very good player. I think Higgins is a guy that if you could plug him in the middle of your defense, and this was, let him go stop the run. He's an old version of a linebacker. I think he would do so good. My concern is that athleticism running sideline to sideline, and in a league where you have to cover, I worry about him out in space.
Yeah. I mean, I love him. In worst case, special teamer who could help. You're going to be Tatum Bethune against the run, but you're also going to be Tatum Bethune against the pass. And so If that's the case, that's a later. Anthony Belton just went. That was a very, very good pick by the Jets. Shout out by them. He's one of my top ranked players left on this big board. Man, Chase Lunt's still sitting there is crazy. I don't think that we would go tackle again. But yeah, for me right now, Jeffrey Bossa, Pat Bryant, DJ Giddens are probably my top 3. Is there anybody I'm missing? We are one pick out. So we don't need a top 3. We just need a top 2. Jeffrey Bossa, Pat Bryant. Is there anybody else we're missing, or do we want to put anybody else there? Because we're about to be on the clock at 147.
I don't think so. I feel pretty comfortable with those selections. And I think Bossa, to me, would be the guy right here. I love Pat Bryant, but I think there's a chance you could still get him at 160. And so I think when you're looking at value-wise, Jeffrey Bossa for a position that's starting to get a little picked over. I know we could go Teddy Buchanan later, but I like Bossa here. I think he fits perfectly with what the 49ers would want and has the ability to eventually be a will linebacker. And I think that's ultimately what the 49ers have to have, is that guy that could eventually translate there if D. Winters doesn't work out.
Yeah, I like that. So, man, we're one pick away, and then we pick again, like 138, 147, 160. So, we're picking again in just, 13 picks, which is awesome because, man, we've got this short board, and I'm like, dude, this might be the running back sweet spot because after we draft this, you've got your 2 defensive tackles. You got your defensive end. You got your offensive tackle. You got your tight end. You got your corner. Hopefully we get our linebacker here. But then it's like, man, let's get a wide receiver. Let's get a running back. Let's get he went a long time ago, didn't he?
Oh, they just switched it. Yeah.
Huh. I think there was a trade. I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting. So they're messing with the big board. Those are out of our pay grade, and I'm thankful that is out of our pay grade because I do not want to be in charge of this spread. I hate spreadsheets more than anything, and I value people that are good at that stuff. It ain't me. It ain't
either.
Me. I'm staying away. So I don't know if we can make a pick again. There's all this stuff going on crazy all the time before our pick, and that's okay. I like a little chaos in my life. Come on, man. Let's go.
I think things are moving a little bit quicker than they anticipated. The other rounds were a little bit more methodical, but this one, some people are like right away, boom, boom, and I like that.
Right before us, Panthers select Pat Bryant, wide receiver.
Ooh.
Right before us. There we go. I'm sitting in the pick. 49ers select Jeffrey Bossa, Oregon. I freaking love it, man. We are plugging holes, and guys are falling to us. Take it away with your Bossa talk. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so 6'1", 232 pounds. He runs a 4.6 40, but instincts are there, and it's the coverage for me. It's how comfortable he looks in drops. This dude understands where he's supposed to be, and that's one of the things that's difficult about playing zone coverage is the comfortability of falling into your drops and then being able to move laterally and move where you're supposed to be without taking your eyes off of the quarterback and still picking up guys coming out.
We messed up. They switched the pick.
Oh.
No.
Oh, Jeffrey Bossa went to Houston earlier?
Houston.
Wow.
Oh, they changed it. We're getting ripped. All right, so now we got to figure out. So both of our guys, man.
Right. Because that was the one that the guys fell asleep at the wheel and they gave him a running back.
All right, so we're stuck here. All right, so what are we going to do?
That's interesting. Well, I mean, who you got top on your board? We know Teddy Buchanan's probably a linebacker we could go if we want to go linebacker here.
I've got Kobe Hudson. I've got all the running backs. I've got, man, we got poached those 2 picks. That's killer. I'm cool Teddy Buchanan. I'm cool Kobe Hudson. And I'm cool DJ Giddens.
Well, you know what? I'm a gambling man. You like running back. I like running back. Let's get the running back.
You want DJ Giddens?
Let's get DJ Giddens, and let's get Pat Buchanan or Teddy Buchanan, one of those guys at 160 potentially. I know it's a little bit of a chance, but hey, I mean we're starting to get a guy that's tremendous value.
All right, there we go. I've got to switch everything up. We got screwed. Roger Goodell, how dare you? But to be fair, that pick went way before. Yeah, it wasn't what I liked. I'm a little upset. Now running back is addressed, and I love DJ Giddens, so we're going to pivot here. Oh, man, I'm a little hot right now. I'm a little hot right now, but that's okay. That's okay. We're going to be all right. It's going to be all right. So that we've upgraded that. I got to change the ticker. I'm a little pissed off. They got us, Ant. They got us. So what do you have prepared on DJ Giddens? What are your thoughts on him? And if not, I've got way too much written on him, but take it away. What are your thoughts just real quick?
Yeah, I love the size, right? 6 foot, 212 pounds. He ran a 4.4 340, had the production over 1,300 yards last year. But this is a guy that's going to be very seamless in this system. He's going to be able to run everything that Kyle Shanahan wants him to run. He's got the ability, the vision, the necessary speed. He's not going to kill anyone with the whole shot, but he's got enough speed to be able to get some big-time plays. This is a solid running back in the middle rounds that the 49ers can build around, and they needed more depth at the position, and they get it with DJ Giddens.
Yeah. Man, it's 6 foot, 212. He ran a 4.4340, so speed is there. 1.53 10-yard speed, split in the 10-yard. That's good. Man, 39.5 inch. He's lower body explosive. But the way in which he runs is body control. He's just almost like a duck where everything looks calm, cool, collected, but his feet are going 1,000 miles per hour, and that's where the speed is. An elusive, shifty back who can get skinny and make guys miss in space. Hard to tackle in a phone booth, but he's not like Isaac Guerendo is easy to hit, but he always falls forward because he's got that big body. That's not necessarily the case for Giddens. He is fighting to break the tackle and run afterwards. So he's not a push the pile type runner. He's a force a miss tackle, get an extra 10 type of runner. Upright, film was good. I was shocked a little bit by the speed. I was thinking he was like a 4.5 guy. So a little bit shocked about that. Now, business administration major. I freaking love that. Finished his career at Kansas State, 3rd in rushing yards in their history, and 2nd in rushing attempts. So he's played a lot. He's got a lot of experience. I called him a faster Chuba Hubbard, and I don't mean that as an insult. I think Chuba Hubbard is a very, very good back. I think that's kind of what he can bring. Just finished last year, had 258 receiving yards. That's a huge positive. 1,300 plus rushing yards, 1,600 yards from scrimmage. A do-it-all, 3rd down, 3-down back that can, he can do whatever you want. So the fact that he has the speed and agility to be a pass catcher or to be a 1st and 2nd down guy, I think that's the versatility that we need. So sorry about everybody. I got so excited about Jeffrey Bossa, but we lost him and we got to move on, sadly. So it's what it is. It's what it is. I'm changing all my charts over here.
Even though the mock draft fumbled that Jeffrey Bossa pick, DJ Giddens does not fumble. Okay, this guy is somebody that does have security when it comes to the ball. He does a very good job. He only had 1 fumble and 428 carries, which is fantastic. He had 69 missed tackles that he forced in 2023. That's the elusiveness you're talking about. Something the 49ers desperately need, that second-level elusiveness. You're not going to get it from Isaac Guerendo. He runs into guys. He's not very elusive when it comes to second level. Jordan Mason wasn't exactly the most elusive on the second level either. That's something Giddens adds, which gives you those extra, like you said, 10, 15, 20-yard runs. But he also runs through contact. He's got pretty good contact balance. So, I think this ends up being a very nice selection in an area where the 49ers can go running back. And you go ahead and you bring him in, you let him compete, and you see what happens. Maybe he'll move up the boards pretty quickly in the 49ers depth chart.
Oof, man. They got me going. Tim Smith, defensive tackle, is gone. So since we picked Holland Pierce, Jalen Rivers, back-to-back OTs, and then Tim Smith, the defensive tackle, and I actually had 7th on Tim Smith. He had some fun tape at Alabama. So now let's reassess. We've got, what are we at? 151. We pick 160. So we're 10 picks out. Let's rebuild our kind of big board, okay? Teddy Buchanan's got to be close to the top. We still haven't addressed linebacker. We got screwed. It's what it is. Kobe Hudson, wide receiver. The running backs now, I don't think we need to go back-to-back running backs. So I'm going to scratch them, Jarquiz Hunter and Jadon Blue, from the chat. Now, other players that I do like. Man, you got Yaya Black, which is a value pick at defensive tackle. Are you really high on him or no?
Yeah, I like him. I wouldn't say I'm like high on him, but I think that he's a very solid player. And I think that when you're looking to get into this range is kind of where you're starting to find the value for him. So that does make sense. As you're getting near to the 6th round, I think there would be a lot of value. So I would be in on that selection if he was the guy.
Okay, so our 3 linebackers, Teddy Buchanan, Jack Kaiser, Kobe King. Is there any other linebacker you want to add to our short list for this next pick?
I don't think for this next pick, I think that maybe if we decide to go linebacker again, there's a couple of guys that I think might have elite like speed and athleticism upside that we might grab maybe in the late 7th round. Somebody to throw out there. We know the 49ers like to do that, get guys late and develop them. But I think when you're looking at the linebacker position, Teddy Buchanan definitely stands out. And then you've got some other talented linebackers. I'm pretty comfortable with those 3 you named.
Okay. So just going off of, I'm just going to list each position. You give me a name if you stand out, if you want to add it to our short board, a name or two. Safety, Craig Woodson, Malachi Moore, Sebastian Castro. Any of those guys we want to add to our big board for this next pick or wait?
I think we could wait, even though Craig Woodson would be a guy that I'm interested in as well. I like him. If you've watched Teddy Buchanan tape, you've seen Craig Woodson a lot. So I do like him a lot. But safety, I don't know how much of a priority that is for the 49ers with the way they handle free agency.
It's the one position we have too many bodies already. Like, you're going to have to cut a safety. There's no way that you have 6, you keep 3. It's weird what they did there. Okay, defensive tackle, Yaya Black, J.J. Pegues, Howard Cross, Ty Hamilton, Tonka Hemingway. Any of those guys we want to add to this short list?
I do like J.J. Pegues. I think he's interesting because he's a little bit of a undersized one tech because he's about 310 pounds. He still penetrates, so he's kind of got some position versatility. So if you're looking for a utility type defensive tackle that could play both, plays well against the run, can penetrate, I think he's an interesting guy as well.
Okay. All right. Edge, which Antoine Powell-Ryland went. They went back and changed that pick. That's confusing me. Okay, we got Kyman Rucker, Fadil Diggs, Jaw Joyner, Elijah Roberts. Any of those guys where you're just like, Kyman
Rucker for the pass rush element. This dude isn't a really good pass rusher out of North Carolina. He's going to be undersized, but the ability, I don't think I like him at 160 though. I think I would like him more like 220, the 220s in the 7th round. So I think you wait on Kyman Rucker, but he is a fun player because he's really good at winning in pass rush situations.
Okay. Interior offensive lineman. Marcus Ware, Montana State, Connor Colby, Iowa, Tyler Cooper, Minnesota, or Clay Webb, Jake Majors, who are kind of your center guys. We want to add them at this, or is it all too early for them?
I think it's too early. I know Ware is a lot of people really like Ware a lot. I think this might be a little early for him. I'd rather go with an offensive tackle that you're moving inside, like a Jack Nelson or someone like that, who I think has got a lot of anchor ability. I don't know if he's already went or not. I don't think I've seen him off the board, but that would be more of a selection if I was looking for an interior offensive lineman, because I think he's got versatility they love with the ability to anchor on the inside.
All right. I like that. Tackles, is it even, we got Josh Connerly. There's no way we're taking 2 tackles, are we? Or is there?
Only if they're going to move them inside. That's the only way. If you see someone you envision them playing inside, I think that's the only way you go tackle. Because with Connerly, you've got Ed Worst, your swing tackle. And like we talked about earlier, maybe they want to make him, work against Colt McKivitz to see what happens there. That's the only, position that you needed to fulfill on the outside was with Josh Connerly. That's too high of a pick that we need to go tackle again. Okay,
so Blake Miller, Jack Nelson, Carson Vincent, any of those guys you want to bump inside?
Jack Nelson. I would love to move Jack Nelson inside.
Okay.
I think he could push to be a left guard starter. I really do. I like him a lot. He's one of the guys that I'm kind of, stubborn on, I'm kind of convicted on, where I'm like, this dude's got a wide base, a really good anchor. And when he gets on guys, he Velcros them. And so I think him moving inside, not having to deal with as many speed rushers because the lateral quickness of a defensive tackle is not there, I think he'll do really well on the inside.
Okay. All right. I add him to the short list. Tight ends, Mitchell Evans, Jackson Hawes, Jake Brenningstool. We already got Harold Fannin.
Yeah, I wouldn't go tight end. I don't think you'd have to do that until round 7 or undrafted free agent, where you can get Rivaldo Fairweather or someone like that. That's a pass catching tight end that you could bring in and compete. I think it's pretty stout. When you went out and you've got, that you nailed a tight end in this draft, Harold Fannin Jr., I think that set up your move tight end. You already had your blocker. It's set at tight end.
Okay. Wide receiver. We have not got a wide receiver. We got close to it. It went right before us. Kobe Hudson. He's on the list, but let's add a second wide receiver. Anton Wells Jr., Ricky White, Tez Johnson, Caden Prather, Jalen Lane, Keandre Lambert-Smith. Let's add another wide receiver.
I think out of the ones you mentioned, I like Keandre Lambert-Smith the best.
Crush.
He's a guy that I'm a fan of. There's 3 guys actually that are kind of been mentioned late that I'm a fan of. Keandre Lambert-Smith, Brew McCoy, and Andrew Armstrong. Those are 3 guys that I've kind of been enjoying what they do late. But out of the guys you mentioned, for sure, Keandre Lambert-Smith, I think, would be somebody I'd be interested in. I think he could play X receiver in the NFL and be pretty good. And I thought his speed was better than I thought it was going to be after watching the film. I don't think he runs like a 4-3 guy, but I think he does play like a 4-4 guy for sure.
Okay. And then we're not going to do another running back because we just took one. Quarterbacks, Jalen Milroe just went off the board to the Giants. What about Will Howard, Tyler Shugg, Quinn Ewers, Riley Leonard? Interested in adding any of those guys at this point? Pick 160. Anything.
I think if we didn't need a linebacker, like if we'd already got Jeffrey Bossa, I would definitely be interested in going quarterback. But I'm a little nervous that we're going to just completely, kind of miss on this next range of linebacker and then kind of have to go complete projection with somebody that's just an elite speed guy that we can develop. And I think there's more of a need at linebacker right now than we could pass on one of those guys to get a quarterback. But there's having all those great quarterbacks still, and I'm saying great as far as this value still available, is very interesting to me. I'm surprised that it took this long, especially for a guy like Jalen Milroe to go off the board with the elite athleticism.
Yeah, I like it. So, man, we're sitting nice. So let's try to filter this big board. Okay. Here are a list of names, and the order is in no order. So, like, who are think of 3 names. I'm going to give you 10 names. Give me the top 3, or just 3 that you think need to be towards the top. Teddy Buchanan, Kobe Hudson, Keandre Lambert-Smith, Yaya Black, JJ Pegues, Jack Kaiser, Kobe King, Kyman Rucker, Jack Nelson, Craig Woodson. Let's filter this.
I think Teddy Buchanan has to be one of the top guys that's on the list, because I think linebackers are extreme need, and he's got the ability to do it. I think he could step in and play within the system and be successful. I think after that, I'm a huge fan of Jack Nelson, and so I'm going to put him on that list whether we select him or not. I think that this is a range where he could potentially go, and so I'm going to put him on there. And then it's got to come down to, for me, one of the wide receivers, either Kobe Hudson or Keandre Lambert-Smith. And I will lean that to you, but I like Keandre Lambert-Smith better than Kobe Hudson. But it's not one of those things where I'm against Kobe Hudson either. I think he's a solid player as well.
Man, I have Kobe Hudson. Both of them are rush crush guys. So I have a 6th rounder on Kobe Hudson, and I have a 5th on Kobe Hudson and a 6th on Keandre Lambert-Smith. I really like them both. It just depends on what your flavor is. If you're going for the X, I think Kobe Hudson can play all 3. But he's still got to learn. And going from UCF, I hate that stupid system that they run. But Auburn runs a form of it as well. So that's kind of the way it goes. All right, let's check the big board and let's see how it's going. Who's the guys that I went? Joshua Gray is a retroactive pick. That's a good one. Sean Dolak, linebacker. Milroe. Ja'Cory Brooks, wide receiver, is now gone. Let me take him off of our list. Boom, boom, boom. I had a 7th rounder on him. And we are 1, 2, 3, 4 picks out. So it's decision times, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to give you the names. Y'all throw out who we want most. Teddy Buchanan, I think, is our clear-cut one because it's the biggest need. Kobe Hudson, wide receiver. Keandre Lambert-Smith, wide receiver. And then Jack Nelson, who we would kick inside to left guard. So we are 1, 2, 3. Those are the 4 guys I think we're comfortable with. Now, if Teddy Buchanan goes, do we include linebackers like Jack Kaiser or Kobe King? I'm higher on Kobe King probably.
I mean, it would become becomes a reach at that point, right? Like
Sin says Higgins.
Yeah. I think just knowing how the 49ers draft, I just don't see them taking Higgins. I don't see the athleticism from him, but I love the player. I mean, he's a guy that I'm a big fan of, but I'm also a guy that's a fan of Danny Stutzman. So, I do like some of those guys that are great run stoppers that have, really good at fitting the run. I love those guys. I just wonder if the 49ers love those guys the same way.
Yeah, I mean, that workout. Now, if there's one position that you can overlook athleticism, I do think it is linebacker, right? Like, instincts can make up for a lot there. It's just the coverage. But yeah, he's good. Yeah, Sin and Ben, they're going at the Jay Higgins train. I can't do it. Nick Martin's off the board. He's already been taken. We're kind of, with the way this draft has gone, every time we go live, every time we say it's our Jalen Lane, I love Jalen Lane. He's gone, wide receiver off the board. But yeah, I don't think we could go wrong. Now we're down to 3 picks. I'm going to say Teddy Buchanan or one of the wide receivers. Are you okay with that? If we removed, but we're taking Jack Nelson out, you want to fight for him over one of the wide receivers, I trust you. And if you're willing to pound the table for this guy.
No, I think because you went offensive line in round 2, I'm okay with this because I think that there are still value guys along the offensive line later on. I do want to say that I believe Jack Nelson is going to be a very good contributor in the NFL for a long time. So there is that, but I can't see them passing on Teddy Buchanan for Jack Nelson, seeing the way that the draft is already played out. So I will concede Jack Nelson at pick 160.
Okay, I'm just running a Control F. There is no Teddy Buchanan that has been selected. So we are safe from repeat picks. Uh-oh, now it's all jacked up. I think I just got to slide down. Yep, there we go. Calm down, Chapman. Uh-oh. Are we in the right spot? There we go. I'm smart. I'll figure it out. So there we go. There's our overall. It just messed up the view a little bit there. But we're waiting on the Bucks and the Packers. Ty Hamilton. Ooh, that is a very, very good pick. I'm really high on Ty Hamilton, man. So yeah, that was. Wait, didn't he already go? Maybe not. Maybe not. I think he did.
Saw Frazier to the Bucks.
So it's our turn. So we can pick now.
Yeah. Yep.
So we are going. Okay. 49ers select. Let me type it out. Number, what are we? 160. We're going linebacker, local kid. Love it. Teddy Buchanan. And he spells it weird. Cal. There we go. Boom. Done. Teddy Buchanan. Now let's just wait and see so nobody yells at us. And then we got a little bit of a break. So we get to kind of like sit back a little bit before we get to pick 214. They've typed it in. We got our guy. Teddy Buchanan is added. Talk to me about what role will he fill on this team? What is it going to look like adding Teddy Buchanan to this roster?
Well, what you're going to get is a guy that, I mean, he's a player. Like, this is a football player. He flies around. He makes plays. He's got good instincts. He's just a solid guy. And I think when you watch him as sideline to sideline, it's better than I thought it was going to be. I was actually watching Teddy Buchanan tape last night. And so I'm definitely a fan of who he could be. I think early on in his career, he's going to have to come in and compete to play a Sam linebacker role. I think he's going to be a special teams, player. I think he'll be very good on special teams, a contributor early. That's why he makes a lot of sense. But when you're talking about a guy that has better than normal instincts, I think he does. He's not a guy that hesitates when reading what he's seeing. And I think that's one of the keys that I like about him. His footwork is pretty good. He's pretty agile. He tackles pretty well. Yeah, I'm a fan of Teddy Buchanan. I think the range we got him seems like about the right spot for a guy he's not slow, but 4'6", he's fast enough to do everything you need him to do at linebacker. And he's got the ability to blitz pretty well too.
Yeah, and so here's my question, though. Can he push for the number 2 spot? Do you think that he's 6'2", 232? He's got the size. Like, the wingspan's good, 4.60. He's got decent speed. It's not great, but it's good. Like, where does he fight for number 2? Or is he your number 3? Or do you phase him in? Like, what's his role whenever he steps into camp?
Yeah, I think he's coming in to compete for linebacker 3 initially. I don't think he comes in and upsets the apple cart and beats out D. Winters in year 1. I think there's going to be a transition period because he's got to learn a little bit. I think that he can get more comfortable in the system. I think D. Winters is going to be ahead of him because D. Winters in coverage is phenomenal. Like that's his thing. And I think Buchanan's going to be better when it comes to coming up and stopping the run and being a player like that. But I think he's an eventual will linebacker. I do think that he can play will linebacker in the league. So he may not come for linebacker 2 in year 1, but he could come for linebacker 2 in year 2. And so I think that's one of the things you're looking at. The upside fills a need right now, and then eventually could potentially step up and change your linebacker core overall with a little bit of an improvement for run stopping. Because I think that's D. Winters' bugaboo. If D. Winters gets better stopping the run, we got our guy. We don't have to move on because that dude plays coverage so well. He just got to get better stopping the run. I think that is the big question mark with D. Winters.
Yeah, I like that. And my thing about, Buchanan is football dude. He's got the athletic build. He's smart as hell. He first committed to UC Davis, but he couldn't transfer until he graduated. So he had to take classes at UC Davis, drive to Cal same day, and then do 2-a-day spring practice, and then drive back where he lived at UC Davis and go to class the next day. Like, this is a dude that is committed. And intelligence, yeah, you check that easily. But he is a coverage, true 3-down linebacker guy. Like, he's good against the run. He's great against coverage, explosive, way better athlete than a lot of guys. Like, I mean, the dude is jacked. He's got an NFL body day one. You look at, again, one of my favorite things, 300 plus tackles, 28 tackle for losses, 8.5 sacks. Production. And whenever he showed up at Cal, it took him no time to be the leader of that defensive team. And that's stepping in with Noah Williams, with Craig Woodson. Like, there are some NFL talent guys on that defense. He stepped in and took it over. Ball skills are elite. 6 interceptions, 14 pass breakups, 40-inch vertical at 230 pounds. Are you kidding me? You are talking... He's an explosive athlete. So this is, Fred Warner type athleticism and build. Him being next to Fred is not going to be a bad thing. Like, he is big. Ideal will linebacker in today's NFL with very little negatives to his game. That's the thing. It was a clean evaluation. He's older. He's got a lot of experience, but he grew up in San Francisco, so you like that. Went to St. Ignatius College Prep School. You got to like that. Went to UC Davis, went to Cal. I mean, come on. Like, bring the kid home. And shout out to, Brad. He just had him on his podcast. So, like, how cool is that? And so really, really do like his tape, like his game. It reminds me of Teddy Lehman back in the day, a little bit of an old school comp there. But, man, he's a 10 out of 10 on my 49ers fit scale. Like, he is what you want, I think, as somebody that you add to your defense.
Yeah, and the blitzing ability too is an added upgrade. Like, when this guy gets after a quarterback, he does it at a high level. He had 5 sacks last year. That is impressive. And so you've got some upside too if you want to walk this guy up to the line of scrimmage at times. We've seen the 49ers fool around that a little bit with Burks or Dre Greenlaw at times, or D. Winters, setting an extra player up off the edge. Teddy Buchanan can do that. And the reason I like it so much is you brought up the workout warrior type thing. I mean, the 40-inch vert, the 28 reps or 26 reps at 225. Like, this dude is strong. He's stout. He's going to be able to help you off the edge too if you need that. I'm not saying he's an edge pass rusher, just saying in certain looks he can do certain things. He's really good when it comes to short area routes too, feeling comfortable in zone coverage. So he's a do-it-all linebacker with a athletic profile that fits what the 49ers want. And those are the guys you have to target late. And we've been talking about this. We would love to have gotten a linebacker earlier. But when you can hit a linebacker in the mid-rounds that fits what Robert Saleh and the 49ers look for in linebackers, you love it. And you, like you said, a local kid, this guy's going to give everything you got. And I could tell you from everything that I've heard about him, everything I've watched, all the interviews, fans are going to absolutely love Teddy Buchanan if he ends up coming to San Francisco. He's going to sell jerseys because he's going to be one of those guys that everyone just loves, his demeanor, the way he plays. And watch, special teams, he's going to light people up from day one. He's a special teams stud.
Yeah, Brant Boyer's going to love him. NY Niners, Ben is like, he's one of the, architects of the 49ers Rush draft book. He says, by the way, I love you guys, even though you totally hosed up our 160 pick. His love for Jay Higgins is off the charts, but I love the madness. Like, you're getting upset about the 160 pick. Yes, do not change. We like the crazy people. And Ben definitely falls in that category of the best of ways. And it's okay. This is a mock draft. These are not the ones that actually are going to be going through. But the picks that will be mattering on draft day, you can come join us in person. And if you guys are on social media, Diamador Lenore just shared the 49ers Rush road trip flyer. That's right. Demo is going to be coming to our draft party. I'm so proud and honored. I've been telling you guys, I've been looking for a new favorite player on this 49ers roster because Dre Greenlaw's gone now. And I've been saying Demo's right up there. I don't think I have a choice anymore. Party with the faithful. Let's go. We're going to be at Broadway Studios over in North Beach area from 4 to 9 p.m. or until the draft ends. We might go longer. We rented the place out for the entire evening, so we could stay and party and have a great time. We're going to be there Thursday, and we're going to be there Friday for days 1 and day 2 of the draft. Diamador Lenore, you want to meet him, autograph, all that kind of stuff, that's going to be on day 1. We've got big screens, trivia, giveaways, you name it. It's going to be incredible. Day 2 is going to be awesome. That's for the hardcore draft people. Big screens everywhere, NFL Network, ESPN, plus we're live broadcasting. You are going to be covered. 49ers-centric coverage, nonstop. I'm so pumped, man. Get to meet Diamador Lenore? What? Go to 49ersrushroadtrip.com. Get your tickets now. All right, and I have to say thank you to Knees Up Venues, who helped us book the venue, Broadway Studios. If you need a venue ever, anytime, go to Knees Up Venues to search it. Man, incredible. Run by Niners fans that listen to the show. That's how we got to work with them. And the mattressguyco.com, they helped bring Diamador Lenore in. You need to recycle a mattress anywhere in the greater San Francisco area, go to the mattressguyco.com. Again, listen to the show. Diehard Niner fans run the company. That's how we got hooked up with them. And them just being so generous to help us set all these parties up and to create time for the community. So let's catch them back up on the big board. I'm going through and crossing off all the guys. Now, our next pick is 214. So we're at pick 166. So we have some time. Now, I asked Ant if he had time today to go back and look over days 1 and day 2 of this draft. And I wanted him to kind of come up with a few of the biggest reaches, not necessarily by us, but it could include us, that kind of took place, that kind of like checked, laughed at. There's always those comical picks. So were any of those picks, walk us through some of the other picks that you thought were just a little bit crazy?
Yeah, I thought Dante Thornton going in round 3. I thought the wide receiver, I thought that there was a little bit of a run on wide receiver there. And I thought that one was very interesting to me. Because I think even though he's got elite speed, you don't have a lot of production. And I thought this was more of a mid-round guy that they kind of jumped on and took early. And it kind of reminded me of when the Patriots got Tyquan Thornton. It was like, you're just doing this because he's a speedy receiver. He's just a vertical threat. That's all he is right now. Now, maybe he could develop into something. But in the 3rd round, I think that's a big bet that he's going to end up being somebody that can make a play down the field. So he was the first one that stood out to me for sure on the list. I don't know if that one surprises you, John, compared to me, but it was definitely a surprise.
Yeah, man. Isaac Tesla and Thornton, like we had an undrafted free agent grade for me go in day 2. which happens all the time. Like we have the very famous clip of is Sean McVay. He's in the middle of a press conference and he sees who the Patriots picked in the first round. I forget who it was. It was one of the small school guards, and he's like, "Wait a second, who? He just went the first?" And like ran off stage, like kind of like giggling like a schoolgirl. Like these things happen. And you always hope that they happen to your division rivals. But yeah, it's interesting. And now we got LaQuaint Allen. It went off the board again. And so I'm going to ask, passive aggressively, is the LaQuaint Allen pick final?
There goes Jaden Blue to the Eagles.
Oh, man, J.J. Pegues gone. Carson Vincent gone. Yeah, we are getting into this is kind of the value section of the draft, which the Niners don't have a pick. We have pick 214 because we traded back. So the Niners are going to have to do that if they want to make, selections in this area. But, yeah, it's kind of tough out there, man. You're fighting for scraps. There's no doubt about that. Now, your boy Jack Nelson is still there. Fadil Diggs gone. Jaden Blue's gone. Man, Jarquez Hunter's still sitting there. They are wrong for that, man. He is incredible. Fadil Diggs. He had some fun tape at Syracuse, man. Let me see if anybody got mad at me. Nobody's responding. They don't like me. I went too far too many times. Right here, hyena masks for draft party favors. I ain't mad about that, man. I've never seen a hyena mask. Hyenas are ugly, but I like the way that they fight. Clay Webb just went off the board. I do like that though, Silent. That is awesome. Hyena masks. That would be something for sure. But I'm pumped. Ant's going to be there day 1 and day 2. So you get to meet the legend himself. We're going to be, broadcasting on stage with my buddy Chuck at the draft party. Trivia, competitions, giveaways, food, drink. You're going to have a blast. Our whole entire goal is create a wonderful, one-of-a-kind experience for 49ers fans to share together. That is the whole entire idea. Yeah, right here. David says, the heck with Lenore. I wouldn't go that far. I want to meet Ant and John. Well, we will be there. We will be there. So here is kind of the issue. GC says, did we get a wide receiver yet? If he's there, Juice Wells. I do like Juice Wells. So here's what we don't have. And you can see at the bottom ticker, kind of our picks: Mike Green, Josh Connerly, Joshua Farmer, CJ West, Harold Fannin Jr., Denzel Burks, DJ Giddens, Teddy Buchanan. Here are the positions we have not drafted: offensive guard, wide receiver. We could go for 2 defensive ends or a safety. So, I would not mind adding another edge. But as far as, positions we haven't drafted, offensive guard, wide receiver, safety, and I guess quarterback, but that's not necessarily a need. But I do like Juice Wells. So prioritize the positions and kind of what is your philosophy going into these final 4 picks? We have 214, 227, 249, 252. Are we trying to address needs, or are we just taking best players available? Who cares?
Yeah, I look for elite traits. I want to find something that's elite. Maybe the player's not consistent, right? He doesn't have something that makes him like a solid player right now, but if you could hone in, he could be something. This is when you get those guys that have the elite speed or athleticism that you go ahead and use, or somebody, if you're an offensive lineman that has an elite anchor that you think, hey, if you develop the rest of his game, he could be that guy. And so that's what I always look for. So I want sideline to sideline speed. I want a vertical threat. I want a guy that, goes after the ball better than everybody else. A cornerback that is maybe a little undersized, but he closes the gap. He stays in phase all the time and drives on the footballs. Those are the guys I'm looking for right now. They got something wrong with them, but what they got right is something I think I could build on.
Okay. All right. I like it. So let's start building now. We're a ways out. We're at pick 172. They're going pretty quick. I like that. Fadil Diggs, Clay Webb, Sebastian Castro, safety just went off the board. So let's start stacking names, okay, that we could keep an eye on to see what's left, because we still have 4 picks. So what I currently have on the list: Kobe Hudson, Keandre Lambert-Smith, Jack Nelson, Yaya Black, Jack Kaiser, Kobe King. Are we going to pull the linebackers off the list now that we got Teddy Buchanan? Are you cool taking 2 linebackers?
I'm cool taking 2 linebackers because this is what the 49ers have done, right? D. Winters, Jalen Graham. Like, they don't have a problem doubling up at the position, and I think that they still have a need there. I don't think they're sold on a guy like Jalen Graham. Last year they were willing to move on from him, and then they brought him back, but I think there's still depth there, and I think when you're looking for athleticism, it might be a good idea to just go ahead and get someone who's an elite athlete, a guy they could develop. So I'm not against going linebacker again.
Okay, and again, like now we're in the position where you can start double dipping, right? Like I would have no problem taking another corner, none whatsoever. Like we could use another corner, you could use another defensive tackle, you use another end, you could use another wide receiver. We haven't got wide receiver yet. Wide receiver is probably the biggest need. That offensive guard a little less so, because if Josh Connerly plays right tackle, man, you could kick Colton McKivitz in. I don't know if you want to. What are your thoughts there just on that transition? Do you think Colton McKivitz would compete inside at left guard, or do you just keep him as a swing tackle and you kind of phase in the rookie?
I think the question mark with Colton McKivitz is going to be, is his anchor good enough against defensive tackles? That's going to be the question. Everything else he can handle playing on the inside. And I think that, they could go a couple of different routes. Number one, they could move Dominic Pooney to left guard, and that would ease the transition for Colton McKivitz as they move him to right tackle. But if there's ever been a player that has been as good moving from side to side, it's been Colton McKivitz. He's been able to play left tackle and did just fine in replacement of Trent Williams in some situations. And then he's gotten consistent playing right tackle. So I think he could handle a move inside. That's my only question. How well is he going to anchor? Because sometimes some of these more powerful edge rushers give him some problems, but maybe that's the speed to power transition. I'd love to see how he handled moving on the inside.
I like, Jake Majors and Marcus Yarns just went. So yeah, and that's the question. Like, you want to know what the difference between a tackle and a guard is quick sudden movements and anchor ability. If you could adjust to the D-line stunts, block it to your left, shift it back to the right, swim moves, spin moves, all that kind of stuff, that's going to allow you to play guard. But that elite anchor ability, can you stand there and take a 320-pound guy running through your chest, full speed, full momentum, full leverage, and not give up yards? That's the question. But then I always go back and say, well, Jake Brindle's been a starter for 3 years now. So he does have the elite change of direction. He's great at that. But I do not think that he possesses the anchor that a lot of people would covet. And I don't think anybody covets kind of what, he brings to the table. But that's there. That is there. Couple comments, questions that right here. Where did Justin Simmons go? And this is kind of fun. And so if you missed the first day, it was fun. There were a lot of early trades up, but for premium players. But if you're looking for kind of what Josh Simmons is who I'm assuming you're talking about, he went 25th overall to the Houston Texans. And I think that's about where he should go. And, kind of where that goes. We took, I just went with the best edge rusher, Mike Green. And, we could dive into that. I would like to get your take quickly, as much as you're willing to share it. If you don't want to dive into this can of worms, I totally understand. But what are your thoughts on Mike Green and the 49ers meeting with him multiple times? Is he on the board? All those fun things.
I think he has to be on the board. You're not going to waste a 30 visit meeting with Mike Green if your investigation has proven that these allegations are even close to being accurate. I just don't think you do. You're doing your due diligence now because you feel comfortable with the player. And so I think that I'm sort of shifting my thought process from what's happening off the field to what's happening on the field. And I think when you go back and you watch what Mike Green does on the field, he's a perfect fit for what the 49ers need off the edge. That speed element has been missing, and Mike Green would add it hugely. He is the best bender in this draft, not named Abdul Carter. He is elite in that category. He's got plenty of power. He's got plenty of speed. That speed to power ratio is there. He's got pretty good handwork. It could get better. He relies a lot on speed, but he's also got the power to take on offensive guards and set an edge. This dude is built to play in the NFL. And I get it. He played at Marshall. He played at a small school, but he proved it against really good players when he played against Ohio State and he played against Virginia Tech. So I think he's talented enough. And I'm just kind of putting that stuff aside because I just feel like the 49ers got to feel confident that there's nothing there, or they would not continue to meet with him. They would have already have scrapped him. And I think a lot of other teams would as well. We'd be hearing about him falling out of the first round because nobody really wants to mess with those type of allegations. Just nobody.
And the thing I always go back to, he was never even questioned by the police. And so there were never any charges brought. Coaches at not one but two schools rave about him. And I got a lot of flack and I got a lot of emails of people like, man, you always rag on the Chiefs and then you do this and whatever. You're a hypocrite. I don't consider this. I don't know what happened. I really, really don't. But I don't consider this even close to a lot like Isaiah Bond, for example, off my board. He's a Longhorn. I'm a Longhorn. Off my board. Like that dude arrested, charges filed, like warrant issued. Totally different. And it's been 3 years since any of those things have happened with Mike Green. So if and this is, again, I've never met with the guy. I've never talked to the guy. I've never talked to anybody. If John Lynch is okay with this, then I am. If he is not, I take his word for it and I side with him and his character. I'm comfortable with that. So I don't think it's just a blank page. Yes, no, throw him out, whatever else. I'm saying he was never even questioned by the police. It's been 3 years. Not one, but two coaching staffs rave about him. So kind of take that for you want. Jason has this comment. I'm curious your take. James Pierce will have a better career than Mike Green.
I like James Pierce, so I don't want to disparage this player at all because I think he's very talented. But I think that Mike Green, believe it or not, is more explosive than James Pierce off the line of scrimmage. I think James Pierce, the longer legs, hinder him a little bit when it comes to the initial quickness. He's still really fast, but Mike Green's a hair quicker. And I think that Mike Green also, I think, is going to generate more pressure off the edge consistently. He has more bend than James Pierce Jr. But James Pierce Jr., he can set the edge against the run. He does that really well. He's got enough size to be a very consistent edge rusher. He's going to be able to produce. He's going to get 7.5 to 10 sacks per season. Like, he is a very talented player. This is a lot like when you were choosing between, Nick Bosa, and the other Josh Allen. It was like, yeah, both of them are going to be really good. One of them's built on length and size, and the other one's built on technique. Which one do you prefer? And I think that that's what you go with. And in this situation with the team we got, Mike Green is who I prefer. And I just think the bend is a little bit more elite.
Yeah, the bend is the difference maker for me. Let me scroll up here. I have Mike Green 9. I have James Pierce 12. You know what I mean? Like, now you have to put these players in order, but there's a huge difference. You could say a guy's 9 and 12. There's a big gap there. There is a substantial drop off of talent after Mike Green for me. Like, I have Mike Green 9, Ted McMillan 10, Kelvin Banks 11, James Pierce 12. There is a substantial. There's only one difference in numbers, but that's a tier break for me. Those top 9 players, for me, have elite traits that I think could be the best of their positions if they hit that. But, man, after Mike Green, it is just a floor. Not that I don't like Ted McMillan. I like Kelvin Banks, obviously, and James Pierce. But, like, somebody has to go there at that number, right? Like, you have to slot. Somebody has to be picked 11th. And it's almost to the point now where it's like, it doesn't matter who the 49ers pick at 11. People are going to be pissed. There is not one pick at 11 where everybody's going to go, man, that's awesome. And that's not always the best case scenario. You go back to watch where the Buffalo Bills selected Josh Allen. We're talking Mel Kiper here. Dude, he is the biggest Josh Allen fan ever. And whenever they picked him, all the Bills fans were pissed. I roasted the pick. I thought Josh Allen was going to be a bum. 100% wrong. 100% wrong. So the goal isn't necessarily to make everybody happy whenever you make the pick. It's to find guys that fit. And again, my draft philosophy has evolved over the years. I want down the fairway doubles that are fits and are not projection type, injury type, whatever. And somebody could say, well, Mike Green, that's a projection. And that's a question with the off the field stuff. I'm sorry. I don't see it. That's just me. Coaches' opinions matter to me, and especially coaches that have nothing to gain, like Virginia, and coming out and saying so many positive things about them. They have nothing to gain from that. I don't know. You want to close this one up for me?
Yeah, I think that I think the best way to say it is the 49ers got burned in the past with a first-round pick that had off-the-field issues that they bypassed. They have not made that mistake again. They have been very good about this. So, like you said, if they sign off on this, that means due diligence was done. They feel very comfortable with who the player is off the field, and they're not anticipating any sort of situation arising at all. And it could be as simple as the player learning that he needs to put himself in better situations. Nothing good happens late at night. And when you're a college kid, you have to learn that the hard way. Herm Edwards used to say this all the time. Nothing happens good after midnight. Stay home, go home, don't get in trouble. And sometimes you learn that the hard way. And I think Mike Green probably learned that the hard way. And now he's in a situation where they've done their due diligence. And if they sign off on it, I'm with you 100%. But I will say this. If they draft Kelvin Banks, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be happy. If they draft Mike Green, I'm going to be happy. If they draft James Pierce Jr., I'm going to be happy. Like, there's a lot of guys that I'm fine with at this point that I think can make an impact on this team. Is there a guy that's like, ooh, that would be the greatest thing ever? Yes, and we're not going to get those guys. So you just got to kind of get used to getting the guys that you are going to be okay with.
Yeah, and I will say this is probably going to make Jason happy, but I like Jason, and I appreciate this conversation. I love this, and disagreements are a good thing. I have not met with any of these guys. Jason doubled down and says, James Pierce, most disruptive edge in college and played in the SEC. I have bigger off-the-field questions with James Pierce than I do Mike Green, because Tennessee has said nothing of this man's character except questioned him being late to practice, him not being in the weight room, which is crazy with the way his body looks. He looks like he lives in the weight room. But work ethic, practice habits, film habits, Tennessee has added more questions to James Pierce. Now, again, the 49ers met with him as well, and they've got to come to terms with that. But the idea of does he love football has surrounded this guy for years, and Tennessee has done nothing to quell those rumors, and in fact have exacerbated it by adding fuel to the flames. And so I don't like Tennessee, and you can see what's going on with their quarterback. That's not their quarterback anymore, and I don't like Heupel. I don't like Tennessee at all. I'm a UT guy, the UT guy. But I'm talking about University of Texas, of course, for those of you that can't spell, the Tennessee fans. But all that's to say, like, I love James Pierce. I just told you he's the 12th player on my board, but I have more concerns about, man, is this a guy that cares? Is this a guy that loves football? And what does John Lynch always say? We want guys that love football. That's what you want. I don't know what James Pierce is, but I do know the film. I am with you 100%, Jason. I am higher film-wise on James Pierce Jr. than a lot. Way higher than consensus. Where did James... Where did he go in this draft? I think he went the 20s. Yeah, James Pierce Jr. went 26 to the Bengals. So you're talking 25. Again, these are podcasters. Take that for what you will, right? Whatever. But, like, he fell. And people took Shamar Stewart over him, Jalen Walker over him, Donovan Ezuraku over him, Mikael Williams over him. I took Mike Green over him. I don't know, man. How do you stack those players on your board? Curious.
Yeah, so I can go over kind of like my top, first round. And I have James Pierce as number 16. And I think he's very good. I think he's a very solid player. I think he is ahead. When I look at my top 10 defensive ends, I got James Pierce, up there with the top guys in this draft. I think he's really good. And I think that he's any selection is fine. If the 49ers took him at 11 over Mike Green, I'm not going to bat an eye because I know what he can do in the NFL. I know he can be a great player. He's going to set the edge against the run. I think it's just preference. A lot of times you're looking for guys who are a certain type of player that fits your certain scheme or does something in particular. And I just think Mike Green is a little bit farther along. Now, what's funny is coming into 2024 season, James Pierce Jr. would have been a top 10 pick. No questions. This dude was a beast, 10 sacks in the SEC. but he fell off a little bit. Then the question marks are kind of surrounding him from Tennessee. I was hoping that more people than just Omar Norman Lott would kind of quell those. Omar Norman Lott said no problems with him, but he ain't going to throw his man under the bus either. So that's just something to remember. But I think Pierce Jr. is going to be a good player in the NFL. I do think he's probably going to go the 20s, in that range. I think they got it right in this mock draft. I think that's where he goes. But whoever gets him is going to be very excited about who they get. And he's going to be a consistent player. I think Jason's right. He's going to be a good player, very productive and disruptive in the NFL.
Yeah, and shout out to Chad here. Chad's a good dude. He said on the Locked On podcast, they had a quote from a Tennessee coach that said if he was an NFL coach, would you select James Pierce Jr.? And the Tennessee coach said absolutely not. Like, I'm telling you, Tennessee is putting out, this guy ain't with us. Like, hasn't been with us. And so that's difficult. I don't know what to do with that. So do with that what you please. But they're not coming out and saying, we love him, he's been great. No. They're adding to this. And I don't understand why. So he pissed somebody off at some time in that organization. And so now you're talking again, going back to Mike Green, holding these two edge parallel guys. Two coaching administrations are going out of their way to talk about how great he is. And what was the quote? Again, I want to be as accurate as possible here. Mike Green, who? And here's my question that I want you to start thinking about. And as I pull up this quote, seeing how the top 10 went, who would you have taken? Who would you have taken at the 11th pick, right? So I want you to think about that for just a second. But here's the quote from Charles Huff at Marshall, who said, the most humble human being you will ever meet, talking about Mike Green. I take that for what you will. So here was the top 10 of how the draft went. Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Tyler Warren, Ashton Jeanty, Mason Graham, Jahad Campbell, Will Johnson, Armand Membu. I took Mike Green. Do not agree with me. What would you have done at pick 11?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not agreeing with you, I think I would have went Will Campbell. I think Will Campbell is a top 10 offensive, player or top 10 player in this draft. And I think offensively, you're talking about a guy that can plug and play left guard right away. If you wanted, you could put him at right tackle easily, but left guard at least right away. He starts next to Trent Williams 2 years down the road. Trent retires and he flips right out to left tackle, and you've got the guy that can play consistently. I just think he's just a clean prospect. He's got a lot of talent. That would be the way I would go if I'm not going edge. I think you have to go edge or offensive tackle to get the value you're looking for at 11. And so I think I would have went Graham, but I wouldn't have been opposed to Kelvin Banks either. I'm a big fan of Kelvin Banks, and I think he could also do the exact same thing. I think I was just a little surprised to see, that Will Campbell was available. I think Will Campbell being available is just crazy.
Yeah, so I would have went Will Campbell as well. And I said I would go Will Campbell or Kelvin Banks here. I have Kelvin Banks slightly higher. But do you think Kyle Shanahan would go Will Campbell, Kevin Banks over an edge? That because it's a predictive mock. What do you think Kyle Shanahan would prefer?
Edge. I think he would go edge. And that's the question. It would just be Mike Green, Mykel Williams, James Pierce. Like who is it going to be? I think would be the bigger question, because we've seen him in the past, even when he was an offensive coordinator, pick the defensive end. They know the value the defensive end adds. And the one thing that an offensive coordinator loves is somebody that's going to help him get the ball back. And that's what Mike Green would do. If I have more opportunities for my offense, we're going to score more points. And I think that's something big, and why Mike Green made a lot of sense at pick 11.
Yeah, I hated making that pick. I hated it. And I think when the Niners are on the board, it's just like, there is no way this is going to go over well. If they take Kelvin Banks, it's not going to go over well. If they take Will Campbell, it's not going to go over well. If they take Mike Green, it's not going to go over well. I cannot think of a pick, maybe Mason Graham. That's it. That the general consensus or overall feel is going to be like, trade back or Mason Graham. Like that is and the goal isn't to win the PR or the news break or the draft grades or, whatever. But I'm telling you right now, it's going to go bad. Like, people are going to be pissed. And you and I might be one of them. Like, it might be a Shamar Stewart pick. Like,
Right.
that's the one to me that I understand the position. I understand the upside. He's just not a football player. He's just not. Like, he's a role guy in an athletic build that doesn't translate on tape ever in 3 consecutive years in the SEC. Like, defensive tackles have 4 times as many sacks than he does. Is there a pick that would really frustrate you? Mine's Shamar Stewart. I don't want him. I just do not.
Yeah, I think Shamar Stewart would. I think that would be shocking. I think the only thing that was more shocking for me was when they went Aaron Banks, because I didn't even have him on my board. I didn't think he was a
Right.
49ers guy. But I think that one was really shocking. But yeah, Shamar Stewart would be shocking. I'm also not a huge proponent of going cornerback in round 1. I think that there's a lot of cornerbacks in round 2, round 3 that you could get that are, give you a lot of value. So I think cornerback would also leave me somewhat shaking my head. But, I could probably come around to that. But Shamar Stewart, when you've got other guys that I think have produced way more and are a little bit better overall NFL products, to me would definitely just make me grimace a little bit.
Yeah, I like that. Let's update just the board real quick as what's happening. Kobe King, Jack Kaiser went. So we lost both of those guys. That kind of hurts a little bit. Shamiri Dykey, the wide receiver, Marcus Ware, Devin Neal, Jackson Hawes, Riley Mills, Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, the defensive tackle, Will Howard, Trevor Etienne, Kyle Monangai, and Desmond Watson. Those are the picks that are in. We are currently at 190. Our next pick is 214. So we have some time there. What about this? Let's do this. We have made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 selections. We have 4 left. Can you pick one of our picks that you think is the best, your favorite, and the one pick that we have done that you're like, you know what? This is probably my least favorite pick we've made.
I think I'm going to go with Mike Green for probably my favorite.
He's your favorite?
I think so. I love him off the edge. I just think he fits what they want. I get it. If we didn't have the off the field issues, this wouldn't even be coming up. But this is the D4 guy. This is the guy you've been missing that you don't have, that speed element. The Will McDonald for the New York Jets or the Will Anderson for the Houston Texans. Like, this is that guy for the 49ers. I just think that he would be tremendous value there. So to me, I think it was a pick that had to be made. And so I would say that was probably, my favorite. And I get it. It's probably not the best, the most, that everyone's going to like, but I really enjoyed it. I think when it comes to the other picks, I don't have any that I really dislike per se, but if I had to go one position that I thought maybe going offensive line in round 2, I just think there's such a value and need for defensive tackle. And I know you got sniped, TJ Sanders was supposed to be the pick.
Was the guy. Yeah.
But I think Josh Connerly there. I think it's interesting that we got Mike Green and then Josh Connerly after the Senior Bowl. So we get like the little battle back, right? But I think Connerly would probably be that guy. Not so much the player, because I think he's a fringe first-round talent. I think it just comes down to positional value. And I don't know if they're going offensive tackle that high, even though 49er fans want offensive line. And I have to keep saying this. I don't mind going offensive line. But when I say what I think the 49ers are going to do, it's not my opinion. This is what they normally do. And so I've come to grips with what the 49ers do. And it's mid-round offensive linemen for the most part. They have went second-round O-line. So this could be the pick. But I think that's the one. Really, I don't have a lot of problems with any of the picks. I think they're all value. But if I was going to go positional value, it'd be that one in the second round.
Yeah. Well, interesting. Because the funny thing is, like, I had to do that trade. We gave up pick 43 and 113, and we got back 55, 86, and 213. I would have taken Josh Connerly at 43. Like, I'm that high on him. And I love offensive line. So it was like Baron Sorrell just went off the board. Great pick. But I would have taken Josh Connerly at 43 if he was there. But he fell to 55. And so it was like, man, obviously defensive tackle is a much bigger need now this year, not next year. And so I was like, man, TJ Sanders or Josh Connolly, and TJ Sanders went right before us. We got sniped 3 times in this draft, man, which is for Jacob Barish went right literally to pick before us. And then we also had the wide receiver Pat Bryant pick went right before us as well after we got, the retroactive Jeffrey Bossa pick. And Joel asked this earlier. Sorry, I wanted to get back to this. I forgot it. Did we get Bossa? We did not. We thought we had him, but a team timed out, and so they gave him a running back, and then they came back like 5 picks later and swapped it out because the GM showed up, and he picked Jeffrey Bossa. So, man, we were, 1 minute out. It would have been ours, but that's kind of where it is. Shout out to NY Niners. I agree with this, too. These are 3 players that if we took if the 49ers picked Stewart, Walker, or Johnson, Will Johnson at 11, those are picks that I can't get behind. Will Johnson because of all the issues, 3 different lower leg injuries, business decisions on a team that wasn't doing well. I just don't like business decision cornerbacks. I don't like business decision anything, but I struggle with corners. Ahkello Witherspoon's one of my least favorite players ever because whenever he was with us, he was so soft and scared to hit. It, traveled around the NFL, went to the Steelers. Now he's with the Rams. He finally got physical. Like, he just had to grow up and get mean. I can't stand Ambry Thomas. I can't stand it. Literally got benched in the playoffs because he was so scared of contact. I can't take those guys. Now, Will Johnson is a top 10 corner, but not with 3 lower leg injuries. I still don't think – has he ran yet? I still don't think he's ran. Still has a corner that can't even run?
Right. He's supposed to do like a private pro day. I think our private workout coming up like the week of the draft. And Brugler said he wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't run. So that could be crazy. He might not run before the draft.
I'm sorry. Like, he's not off my board. And it's not like I'm expecting him to go out there and run a 4.4. But again, kind of like linebacker. Okay, if you're bad at the 40 and you play linebacker, I can deal with it. The 40 is the most important workout for cornerbacks. You're talking, when was the last time Michigan played? It's been 4 months. You can't run? Like, I'm sorry. Like, no. And so if you draft, no. If he was somebody that did make business decisions over and over and over this year, if he was ever good against the run, I get it. The ball skills are elite, the length, the measurables, the tape in 2023. Get it. Sorry, man. Not at pick 11. You trade back and get Will Johnson, all right. I still don't like it because I don't think he's a culture fit. But, man, am I crazy? Why would you draft a corner at 11 that can't run?
Yeah. I think that's too risky. I think the 49ers would be worried about that. I think he's going to try to go through positional drills, probably try to get everyone's attention off the fact that, he hasn't been healthy and prove that he can still move. But yeah, I think that there's still probably a concern for him about straight line speed. And I think that could be enough to push him way down the board. So I don't like him at 11. I didn't really when I thought he would be healthy. I definitely don't like it now. If he doesn't run, I think there's a chance he falls out of the first round. I think there's a chance he falls in the second round if teams are a little leery of his top end speed.
Yeah, it's rough. And then Jalen Walker, this is somebody I do want to talk about. What did you see, Caleb Martin?
No, my guy Chandler Martin just went to the Jets.
Yep,
that's one of my favorite linebackers. I love that guy.
He's a fun player out of Memphis. Really, really fun player. But Jalen Walker, I'm lower on than almost everybody. And, here's my thing. I don't like him as an off-ball linebacker. I think he is so slow to diagnose plays repeatedly. Now, as an off-ball linebacker, I think he's maybe the best blitzing the quarterback off-ball linebacker I've ever graded, including Micah Parsons. And I think that he is the best spy quarterback player, just instincts and raw chase down mobile quarterbacks. He's the best. But, those are – that's not what you do in Robert Saleh's scheme. You don't even play spy. You do a cover one under sometimes, but, you know what I mean? So you're taking away his best skills, and as an edge, he is so small. He has no length. He has no experience at either position. He has some of the fewest snaps of any player being drafted this year because he just couldn't get on the field. So, you mean to tell me he's a top 11 player, but this guy couldn't even get on the field for 3 consecutive years? I struggle with that. I understand the upside. I understand the versatility, but I just cannot take a projection. Again, my draft philosophy, as we keep expanding and growing, I don't want misses. I don't want wild cards. I want to know. So whenever you look at Jalen Walker, what do you see, and what is his role on the Niners if they took him at 11?
That's the key, right? If you're going to draft a player like Jalen Walker, you have to have a vision for him. You either have to have a spot he fits within your defense, or you have to have a position that you can create to make him fit your defense. I don't think he's a necessary fit for the 49ers. I think he fits a lot better with a 3-4 defense where he can play outside linebacker, where at times he's out in space, he's rushing the passer at times. My problem with him is I don't think he's as good as a off-ball linebacker as he probably should be to be in the first round, and he's not big enough to be an edge rusher in the NFL consistently. He's like really undersized, height, weight. It's a little bit of a concern. So I don't like him early on in this draft. I don't think he's, a top 15 pick because of some of the question marks. I think you kind of narrow in the type of teams that are going to look for him, a specific skill set. So he's going to have limited suitors who are going to want him. And I think that's going to be the unique thing. Who pulls the trigger and what is the role that they have planned out for him? I don't think it's the 49ers.
Yeah. I could see a lot of teams being super high and having like a top 5 grade on them. Not me. And not that they're wrong. I just, man, with so many needs, I'm just like, he has no clear-cut path. He has no clear-cut path. And yeah, like some people say, like, just give me great football players, we'll figure it out. I don't think the Niners have done well with those guys. Whatever. It's not clear what you're going to do with them. There's been a struggle. The best thing that the 49ers have converted is safeties to linebackers. I don't think they converted any linebackers to pass rushers. That's just me. Jeff says, John, do any of the other first-round edge guys ever try to use a ghost move? Mike Green has one, and it's great. The ghost move is basically you go out to engage the offensive tackle, and when the offensive tackle goes to engage, you pull your hands back and chop. It's an advanced move, but I can tell you off the top of my head, I've seen Donovan Ezeraku do it. I think he has the most diversified pass rush plan of anybody, and I've seen James Pierce do it. Mike Green, obviously, like he's probably the best at it, but Ezeraku, Pierce, and Green, just off the top of my head, I can. Anybody else come to mind? I know you're the O-line guy. Anybody stand out that kind of uses that diversified pass rush plan?
Not in this draft. No, I mean, I think you got it spot on. I've seen Donovan Ezeraku do it. Ezeraku is my clone for Mike Green. Like those dudes are very similar in a lot of fashions. And so Ezeraku is kind of like the later version of him. And so, yeah, he does it well. Ezeraku, the handwork, the placement, the way that he uses those 34-inch arms, he does a great job of being able to get to the quarterback. And 16 sacks in the ACC is impressive. I like Ezeraku. I know he went, I think, 15 in this draft, which was a little bit higher than I was expecting, but I think he is a really solid player that's going to be consistent. I like him too.
Yeah, I like it. I like it right here. And a lot of people hate Mikael Williams. They really, really do. And I get upset when people talk about Mikael Williams and Shamar Stewart in the same sentence. I'm like, no, that's not allowed. But that's just my own personal opinion. Helmet to Helmet says Mikael Williams would be my choice. Got the size, production, seems to love football, played through injuries, tough, doesn't make business decisions. The production's not great, but he's got 14.5 sacks. If Shamar Stewart with 4 sacks can go in the first round, why can't a guy with 14 that plays in the exact same defensive front that runs through tackles on purpose as Shamar Stewart, but still 14.5 sacks, better against the run, better bot. I don't know. Help me differentiate your thoughts on Mikael Williams versus Shamar Stewart.
Well, I think with Mikael Williams, he's not as good an athlete as Shamar Stewart. And I think that's really the athleticism, what's getting Shamar Stewart's name out there a little bit more. When you're talking about consistency, Mikael Williams is the more consistent player. Now, he's played a lot of 4-eye, 5-tech. Like, he's a really built for the 3-4 style defense. And I think if you were a 3-4 defensive coach, you love Mikael Williams. He might be the top defensive end on your entire board because of the way he could play within your scheme. So I think that a lot of teams are going to love him for that. My question marks are, how does he translate to a 49ers wide nine? And I think that's the biggest predicament with Mykel Williams compared to some of the other guys we just talked about is, does he have enough athleticism and speed around the edge? Because he doesn't have the bend. So if you don't have the bend, it's okay. You just got to be an elite technician with your hands. You've got to be able to convert that power to be able to get a push on that tackle. I think he does have the power. I wonder about the technician skills, if they're quite good enough. He's not an elite technician like Nick Bosa was coming out, or we'd be talking about him, I think, even more so for the 49ers. But I think as a 4-eye or a 5 tech, he's fantastic. A wide nine, that's where my concern comes in.
Okay, so let's stay with this debate, which I think is really, really good. How much better is Green than Ezraku if they are similar? Because Donovan has kind of done it a lot more. I mean, shoot, you talk about sacks and all this stuff. He didn't lead the nation in sacks. He was second. But you're talking about somebody that had 14 sacks, 21 TFLs. I think the problem is he's not near as good in the run game. We're talking Donovan Ezraku. And I don't think that he has that elite upside. Man, you look at the 34-inch arms, though. I do like that. He's an inch shorter. He's a little bit lighter. I just don't see the twitch. With Donovan Ezraku, I see the bend. I would go as far to say Ezraku might have better bend than Mike Green. But I don't think that he has that elite twitch. Didn't even run the 40. Didn't even run the 10-yard split. Did he do it at his pro day? Let me double check this real quick. What are your thoughts on the difference between these two?
I think it's real slight. I think that the arm length is going to be the advantage for Ezraku. He also plays with really good leverage because, like you said, he's an inch shorter. So he does play with pretty good leverage. The production was definitely there, like you brought up. I think he bends sufficiently. It's the initial burst, like you said. Getting off the ball, there's Mike Green's just a half a step quicker. And that is a big difference in where you're going to force offensive tackles to get. I think that both of them do a pretty good job of taking advantage of tackles that overset. But I think that Mike Green right now is a more explosive and the guy that seems to be able to finish a little bit more consistently, more of those hole shot finishes, where I think Ezraku, it takes a little bit more work. He's going to get there, but it's going to take a little bit more work to get there. He's not exactly the drag racer that gets home right away.
Again, yeah, chose not to do anything at the pro day or combine. He did do the short shuttle and 3-cone, which is 6'9". He's a bend guy. He's not a speed guy. He does not have that elite burst off the line. He has long arms, plays with great leverage, and his bend, I think, is the best in this class. Maybe Abdul Carter, but I would put his bend higher. And so he has a rare skill set that a lot of edge rushers don't have in this draft, which I think is valuable. And I mean, shoot, you look at how this draft went. We scroll up. Donovan Ezraku went early, bro. He went 14. Ezraku, I mean, we took Mike Green 11. Ezraku went 14. Mykel Williams 15. Shamar Stewart 22. James Pierce 26. Nick Scorton 28. Edge rushers went, man. Everybody wants them. And the three positions that get pushed up every single year: quarterbacks, edge rushers, offensive tackles, without fail. So I like Ezraku. I have a second round grade on him. A high second. The lack of burst, not as good in the run game, but he has done it against better competition. And, there's a few players that I struggled with. All right, I got a second round grade. Man, should I bump him up to 1? Here's why I don't, because there's a couple more weaknesses, or maybe they're not as elite traits as some of the other guys. But I'm comfortable with where I have him, right in the 30s. And he went early in this one. I think some teams will fall in love, but trait teams won't. He's 6'2". That's hard. And again, another reason why I'm out on Jalen Walker. He's 6'1", so what difference does a 6'1" versus 6'2" versus 6'3" player? Am I being too nitpicky there? Does the height with a lot in the length of these edge rushers, does that matter to you whenever you're filling out your big board?
Well, I think it matters if you get the short height to go with short arms, because then that will start playing a part in how they approach pass rush. With Ezraku, I'm not worried about 6'2", because he's got 34-inch arms. And so he's going to be able to use those arms to his advantage, which he does pretty consistently. So he makes up for that. And I think being able to keep those offensive linemen away from him is going to be huge. Separation is going to allow him to do some things. So I think there are certain thresholds that you look at that you have concerns about? Overall frame, body type? Are they going to be able to take on, players and set an edge, especially with an edge defender? It's not all about pass rush. And so you have to remember that when you're talking about these guys. That's where my concern is for Jalen Walker. What's going to happen when these guards are pulling and they're kicking him out? How is he going to be able to set an edge consistently? I don't have those, thoughts about Mike Green or Donovan Ezeraku. I think they're going to hold up well. And so I think that's where you start, getting the difference between hyper athlete that can put pressure on the quarterback versus more consistent D end. I think right now Jalen Walker is a guy that's probably a third down pass rusher. Maybe he's a linebacker, depending on what you think you can get out of him at off ball. But Ezeraku, Mike Green, those are 3 down defensive ends that got the ability to get home consistently.
I like that. Appreciate Brash, the kind words. Shout out to our boy Rusty. He is part of the Rush family. He says, with the line judges allowing so many offensive tackles to get away with that early step back, think Leighton Johnson, think every Chiefs player ever, does power from your edge count more than quickness? So you're the O-line guy. What are your thoughts whenever for me, it's as long as you're elite in either, I don't care. How do you win? Do you win consistently with it? What does that look like? But speed versus power on the outside, what matters more? How do you weigh those?
Yeah, I think if you have one or the other, it helps. I do think speed kills because that is what forces offensive tackles to overset. If you feel like you've got a pass rusher that can get off that quickly, you've got to get out there quickly, which means you got to get your body weight going, and it's harder to stay back. And I think when that happens, a lot of times they become susceptible to power moves then. So when you got the speed and then you can convert to power like Mike Green did at the Senior Bowl, that is where you got it. The elite speed made Connerly jump out. He overset. Then Mike Green converted to power and put him on his butt. That is why the speed element is so dynamic and why so many teams want it, especially when you have a power dynamic behind it. That's where you get elite pass rushers.
And I think that is Mike Green comes in. You
That's
don't see that in James Pierce. You don't see that in Donovan Ezeraku. That speed to power, look at it, Brash, speed to power, flatten the loop. Yeah, like that's the thing. And there's different ways to win. Like Bosa, he has a really good first, second step. He has no bend. But he is a technician. So Bosa's a little bit of an anomaly. He could play power. He plays with good leverage. He wins with hands. You know what I mean? And he wins up here, which is so crazy because when you listen to Bosa talk, you're like, dude, this is the dumbest dude I've ever heard of. But, like, he's not dumb. He studies and has a pass rush plan with every single player he's ever gone against in the NFL. And he'll tell you in those interviews, like, yeah, we think we got a good plan. And, like, he focuses on those things. That's how Bosa wins different. Like Myles Garrett, freak length, athleticism, bend, burst, strength. He has everything, every tool ever. You get to TJ Watt, he's elite burst, great leverage. And like that's what I see in Mike Green. Like he's a TJ Watt type, whatever. And do I think he's TJ Watt? I don't. But look where TJ Watt went. He went in the 20s, right? Like TJ Watt wasn't what we have TJ Watt as now. I don't see that with James Pierce. I think James Pierce is a little bit of a one-trick pony. He's top 12 for me. And that speed, that one trick is elite. That dude is a sprinter who just playing in the NFL. But he doesn't have the bend. He doesn't have the power. But the one thing I will always go back for James Pierce, that dude can read blocks. And he could set the edge against counter and counter tray and double pullers. That dude, he knows football. And I don't know if he watches tape or if he can just read down blocks better than most edge guys, which is weird for speed. But yeah, so props, they all have their things. So you have to find your flavor, right? And I like James Pierce. I would be very happy if the 49ers took him at 11. But whenever you talk about Mike Green, it's just different for me. It is just different for me. Let's update the big board. Shout out to the Chargers for taking a player with a murder charge on his thing currently. Kyron Lacey, the wide receiver, I don't know if he's still in jail, but there's a murder charge pending on him. Riley Leonard, cornerback, went. Ajane Cornelius, I like, but he's got the injury. He is off the board, and they're doing some updates. Did somebody trade? We lost it. So we are at pick 205. We are about 9 picks out. I'm trying to look, man. Most of our guys have not gone. So just our leftover big board from last time. Kobe Hudson's still there, wide receiver. Keandre Lambert-Smith still there. We have not picked a wide receiver. Jack Nelson still there. Tackle, kick into guard. Yaya Black might be the highest rated player on my board, defensive tackle. Kyman Rucker, edge, still there. Craig Woodson. Oh, I freaking love Craig Woodson. Can we go back-to-back Cal guys? I'm not a Cal guy, but I've been to a couple Cal games. I'm close to Berkeley. I'm all right with that. I could be a Cal guy. So we're about 9 picks out. I mean, sure, I just gave you 6. We've got to come up now. So spend some time looking at your board. If there's any other names we need to add to our short list, again, we have not drafted a guard. We have not drafted a wide receiver. We have not drafted a safety. We have not drafted a quarterback. Could really use another defensive end. We have 4 picks left. And again, anytime you double up at a position, you're neglecting something else. I'd be fine neglecting safety. I don't have to draft a safety, but man, I'm high on Craig Woodson. Kyman Rucker just went. We just brought him up. He just went. So that makes it a little bit easier. Good pick. Ricky White's gone. I like Ricky White, man. I like Ricky White. And so, yeah, any other names you want to add that we're just like,
Well, my guy is still sitting there, right? Jack Nelson is still available. And so I always want to say that he's a guy that I'd be interested. I'm kind of going through my list here, looking. I see, Craig Woodson. I think this is getting to the range where you start thinking about that. We did running back earlier, or I would bring up Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. I like him a lot. I think he would make sense for the 49ers. If you're looking to go, like we said, wide receiver, we have our guys. I'd also keep putting out there a guy like Brew McCoy, who I think is very Jawan Jennings-esque. A little bit more speed, but you're talking contact. This guy continues to break tackles and get extra yards. And I think he would be a third down monster in the NFL. And he was a 5-star recruit. So, I mean, this dude had a lot of potential when he went to USC. And he's had some injuries, some things that have kind of knocked him down. Part of a bad, Tennessee program overall. They haven't really got this thing together. But I like him a lot as well. I think he's somebody. Of course, one of my cornerbacks, Robert Longerbeam, as we get closer or further along in the 7th round. To me, he's somebody that I would be interested in. Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys, eventually, and there's a few linebackers once we get into those last, couple picks that I'll probably throw out there. Some guys that I've been watching, and not Jalon Walker, but Jalen Walker out of Indiana. So you don't get one, but maybe you could get the other later on.
Yeah. And Brew McCoy, he was a Mater Day kid, and he committed to Texas, and he was like one of the top recruits. And so, me being a Longhorn, I started watching all of his high school tape. I got totally psyched on him, switched his commitment last second to USC. It hurt my heart, but he has not panned out really at all. He's never been more than the number 3 wide receiver for any team he's been on. Batty's still around. We're talking Tyler Batty. I believe that he is available. Yes, he is. My top edges are Jaw Joyner, Colin Oliver, Elijah Roberts, Barron Sorrell went, didn't he? Yeah, Barron Sorrell went. I did not mark him off. Tyler Batty, he is in there. Yeah, there's a lot of quality. There's a lot of quality players. Now, the top players on my board, Craig Woodson, Yaya Black, Justin Wiley, the corner, Minnesota, Jason Marshall Jr., the corner from Florida, Tonka Hemingway, South Carolina, Jaw Joyner, Minnesota, Connor Colby, Tyler Cooper, offensive guards, Jack Nelson, Blake Miller, but Blake Miller, we're not going to take him. Mitchell Evans, the tight end, Kobe Hudson, the wide receiver, Jarquiz Hunter, and Curtis Rourke and Tyler Shugg still there. Still no quarterback talk. We don't want to throw a dart here. We're all right staying away.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, go Ant. Love Nelson. Seems like the Niners really like Caleb Etienne, super athletic, versatile line guy. Yeah, they've met with him a lot. Tyler Shugg did go. I missed it. Man, dude, I'm missing picks.
Yeah.
How am I missing picks? I got to make sure.
Yeah, he went earlier. It kind of went like they went like 3 or 4 picks in a row, and he was one of them.
I thought I was doing a good job. Andrew Armstrong, Jabbar Muhammad, I do like at the corner spot. He's one of my top corners. He was number 3 I had left. And again, if you guys want the full big board and all those different things and kind of how everything is built out, all you got to do is if you're a supporter of any level at the 49ersrush.com or on our Patreon, the big board, 343 write-ups, comps, workout numbers, 49ers fit score on every single one of them. It's all there. All you got to do is sign up. Now, if you don't want to sign up and subscribe, that's okay. You can just buy it. It's $20. Just go to our Patreon page. It's available for purchase at the top. Just $20. The amount of time that our team, which we had a 10-person work crew, just working for months on this, and I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud of it. Now, if you want the video breakdowns, Ant, can you talk to us about your Patreon and what's on there and how we can help support? And just, man, amazing content, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, 49ers Cutback, patreon.com. Just go over there. I always have links in the description. You can go click right on that. And I have over 40 breakdowns on players. You can go check that out. It has film with it, of course. So go check out what we're saying. We get deep dives into those players. I've also been releasing my top 10 at each position over on Patreon. So all of that's available. And if you're on Patreon and you want me to break down a specific player, all you have to do is message me. I get right on that. So far, I've been able to meet all the requests that have been sent my way, and it's been a lot of fun. So I've been enjoying it. I just did Luke Condra, the Cincinnati guard. I just broke him down. That came out last night. So yeah, plenty of players over there. You want Mike Green, you want James Pierce, you want all those guys. It's all available over on Patreon.
All right, so we're thinking right now Jack Nelson is probably the top of our board. Would you agree with that assessment, Ant?
Yeah, I think so. I like Jack Nelson the most out of everybody that's available right now. I think getting a guy that can play that level, I think that this is too late for him. I think he's going to go a lot higher. The fact that he's still there, it's getting to that point now where it's too much value to pass up on. It's like, do we really need another offensive lineman? Maybe not, but he's a guy that I see that could come in and potentially start at left guard and have a great anchor. So I would be a huge fan of Jack Nelson here, and he's probably he would be the number one guy on my board right now. Just so much talent, and I think he gets ignored because he was an okay offensive tackle at Wisconsin. I thought he was pretty good, but Velcro hands, man, gets on you. And the wide base he plays with, I love for interior offensive linemen. So I just think he's got an elite anchor, and I'd be a huge fan of Jack Nelson at the next pick that we have coming up, 214.
Yeah, and if he goes, then we're looking wide receiver. Kobe Hudson, Keandre Lambert-Smith. I'd be fine with either one of those. And then, the backup picks, Yahya Black, Craig Woodson, I'd be like those are value picks, right? So we need a guard. We have not drafted a guard. We need a wide receiver. We have not drafted a wide receiver. And even in a draft where we traded back, we got an additional 3rd-round pick. We spent that additional pick on CJ West. And then 214, our next pick, this is another additional pick, right? So we traded 2 picks, 43 and 113, to the Chargers. We got 3 in return, 55, 86, 214. Even though we picked up an extra pick, we still need more. There is not enough that you could have 16 picks in this draft, and you would finish the draft and go, man, really wish we would have gotten one more of these. There's so many holes in this roster. And again, that goes back to you did not fortify your roster at all in free agency, at all. So depth, starters, backups, long-term backups, developmental players, you need everything across the board. A couple more picks. It looks like Kansas City Chiefs they're behind BJ Green and Woody Marks. I think Woody Marks is a perfect fit in a Shanahan offense, but we got our running back. Is there a way that you would go to running backs, or probably not?
I think if I was going to go running back again, it would have to be one of the last picks in the draft. Someone that you didn't think you could get as a priority free agent. You were afraid of potentially missing out on them. But I think when you look at the 49ers roster, once we went Gibbons earlier, now you have Christian McCaffrey, Isaac Garendo, Gibbons, you have Patrick Taylor, and you have Israel Abanikanda. So you have a tremendous amount of running back talent there. Abanikanda drafted by Robert Saleh in New York as a 5th-round pick. And so I'm sure Bobby Turner was high on him. in that draft process because I know he was one of the targets that I thought the Niners could go with. So I don't know if we've heard the last of him either. So I think they have a pretty nice room right now. But later round running back wouldn't surprise me. You always need a lot of guys to get reps. And who knows how much Christian McCaffrey's workload is going to be throughout training camp. You might need an extra back to kind of carry some of that weight.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about the running back room. Now, the good news is I'm super high on DJ Giddens, and I'm sitting here, I'm looking at Jarquez Hunter, and I'm like, golly, man, I have a 4th-round grade on Jarquez Hunter. I love Jarquez Hunter. He's just sitting there, and I'm like, dude, we're picking at the end of the 6th round. That's a 2-round value, but that's okay. This is going to happen. This is going to happen, and with a loaded running back class, I know I'm higher on some than others, and that's okay. But man, Jarquez Hunter in the 7th round. I'm going to fight you. I'm telling you, I'm going to pull my Kyle Shanahan. Oh, the Chargers are off now. Elijah Hustle. Is that Hustle?
It's not. It's Huzzy, I believe.
I did not grade him. So
yeah, the Niners met with him actually.
There we go.
Yeah. But yeah, he's, pretty good player. I think, you're talking 7th round grade for Elijah Huzzy. So I think this is kind of where he goes.
And once you get to this point, we're picking in the 200s now. You find guys that you think are a fit or have an elite skill set, or there's something, it's a pairing, right? You're trying to find something that just fits what you do. Jack Nelson's a tackle. Well, he fits with the Niners because we bring all the tackle converts into interior offensive line play. It's what they do. The wide receivers, man, Kobe Hudson, Keandre Smith fit. They both fit. Yaya Black fits. Craig Woodson fits. And so, again, I'm going back to, man, I want guys that fit what we do in our personality and our scheme. That's what I'm wanting here. Now, there's some elite value picks out there. And, I'm looking at a Justin Wally. I want to look up his injury because I do have him flagged. And I'm in the first and second day, I'm not touching injury flagged players. But once you get into the 6th round comp picks 200s, I'm like, good Lord, let's talk about this guy because, man, he's somebody that could play. Now, what was his injury? Yeah, played through a knee injury much of 2024. Coaches praised his toughness as he played through that. Started 42 games over the past 4 seasons. Had a partially torn MCL in his right knee September, but played through it. MCL's not near as big as other ones. Justin Wally, I'm looking at Dane Brugler, has a 6th-round grade on him. I could use another corner. And if I'm looking at positions that I'm like, man, we could definitely double up on, corner is definitely one of them because I just don't think that we have depth there. But anyway, other picks, Willie Lampkin went. Shout out to Larry Krueger. Elijah Roberts, gone. Man, every time I talk to Larry, he is just Willie Lampkin this, Willie Lampkin that. I love it. What are your thoughts on having a 5'10" offensive lineman in today's NFL?
Yeah, I don't love it. I honestly don't. I think that, the 49ers tried to go against some of the threshold, knowledge with Jason Poe, because he was an extreme athlete and it didn't really work out. And I like Willie Lampkin, but I do think the 5'10" thing and the length is going to be a little bit of a problem for him in the NFL. So I'm not a huge fan of that. I think we already got, some guys that are pretty sufficient in the area, but I get it. I know a lot of people like him. It's not like I dislike the player. I'm concerned about that translation into the NFL where everyone's the biggest, the baddest, and the roughest and toughest. And I'm just worried about him being a consistent player in the NFL.
All right. 49ers are on the clock, buddy. And I'm typing in your pick at number 214. At number 2, oops, I hit the wrong symbol there. I was at and everybody. 214, OT. I'm going to go O lineman, right? Jack Nelson, Wisconsin. I love getting Wisconsin players on the offensive line. Zone. All the way back to the Cheap Chris days, man. I love it. Now, they do a lot of pin pull and inside whatever, but I think that fits. So this is your boy, Ant. This is your moment. Tell us why you were, whenever I listed the names and said, who should we be looking at? You were like, your eyes got big. Tell me why you like this guy so much.
Yeah, so from the first time I watched film of him, I just saw a guy that had a really wide base that he played with. And it's unique to find a guy that's 6'7" that plays with a wide base and plays that low. And so right away, I thought this dude has the ability to be consistent. Now, I did recognize he had a little bit of lateral quickness issues with some of the speed rushers, but if he squared them up, they weren't going anywhere. I'm talking nowhere. These guys are not driving him back. So right away, it was an automatic to me. Let's take a problem that is a lateral quickness issue, move him inside where it's no longer an issue, and he's going to have elite anchor. But he's got enough speed and athleticism to get to the second level. He's good on the second level with blocks. He's got Velcro, vice grips for hands. This guy gets on him, a good first punch, but it's the elite anchor for me. If you have Dominic Pooney and you have Jack Nelson as your guards, Brock Purdy's not getting pressure up the inside from the guard position. That would be a huge change from what it's been in the past. And I get Jake Brendel's still there. That's not his strong suit, which is anchor. But these guys could help him a lot. And these guys would do a great job. I love the size. The arm length I thought was going to be a little bit better when you're talking 6'7", but he's still effective. And on the inside, 33 plus arms are plenty long enough. So I love this pick for the inside, and I love the value here. I think he could easily go in the 5th round, and you're getting him all the way back here in round 7. I think it's a great pick.
Yeah, and you're talking about somebody with 50 starts. He's played 13 starts at left guard. He's played offensive tackle the rest of the time. I mean, this is you're talking about somebody that could just freaking play football, and you're getting him at the back end of the 6th round. Like, yeah. So now our offensive guard is set. We still don't have a wide receiver. I'm going to go out on a limb here. We're at 216 now. We pick 227. So we're up in about 10 picks. This next pick is going to be a wide receiver regardless. Are you cool with that? So let's what are your thoughts there? You okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay going a wide receiver. I still think it's a need. So we want to address it, and I think this is probably as good a time as any before there starts to be a late run on some of these wide receivers and we miss out on getting a guy that we really like.
So I'm going – here's my order. It's definitely up for debate. Kobe Hudson's my 1. Keandre Lambert-Smith is my 2. And Wayne Wells, baby, Jr., Ole Miss. Tez Johnson, Caden Prather, Elijah Badger, Will Shepard, Zachary Franklin went, I'm pretty sure. What are your thoughts? And if you don't have thoughts on these guys, that's totally cool too. I just want to make sure, we're having a decent conversation on what's available and kind of what we're looking for here.
Yeah, I like Keandre Lambert-Smith. I think that he's somebody that I think fits really well. I think he would look good in the 49ers offense. I think the way he operates, I think he does enough speed to be able to press vertically, runs good enough routes that I think he could continue to progress to get better at route running when he gets more routes added to his repertoire. Right now, he didn't run an extensive amount of routes at Auburn, so he's got to get a little bit, more in tune with different route running, but he creates enough separation. And I think he could be a guy that it could be a little bit of a yak monster with the ball in his hand. So I like him. I think he would be a great pick. With Kobe Hudson, this is a guy, though, that you had ranked in the 5th round. And so I think that there's a tremendous amount of value when you're talking about where you're going to pick him, because if you see that projection, that's just too good to pass up with a guy that you've had ranked that high.
It's funny because you always get the post-draft press conference where they're like, oh, well, we had a similar grade. We had a 3rd round grade on this guy. And you're like, yeah, right. It happens. And if this process has taught me anything, like, dude, this is a rush crush. Kobe Hudson, UCF 6'1", 193. Okay. Now, not long arms, doesn't have big arms, 4.57. He's a tape guy for me. Experience, versatility, and routes. Just produces, can play all 3 wide receiver spots. Savvy route runner. Top end speed's a concern. I remember writing that one before the combine. Then he ran a 4.57. It was like, ooh. But he had a 1.54 10-yard split, which is above average for this class. So he's a 3 on speed, but a 6 on acceleration, which I did like. Strong at the catch point. Like, he made so many tough catches going to the ground, toe taps, whatever, going over the middle, no issues. Makes a lot of tough catches. Did have some concentration drops. Like, that's one thing that you got to work out. Type of wide receiver that have a long career, as he fits every scheme, can play every wide receiver spot with a quality NFL body. Just, gosh, man, I really, really, really liked what he brought to the table. Was an Auburn guy, transferred to UCF, and I just like him. Now, the drop rate was one of my question marks, but this is a 5th-round guy. Like Robert Woods, smaller Gabe Davis, like those types of players. He's a 9 on my 49ers fit score. It's just like, man, this guy could play. Wherever you want him to play, he could play. You want to play slot? You want to play flanker? You want to play him X? Dude could just play. Do wish he had more speed or a longer body, but he's just a clean 5th-round pick, in my opinion, that I don't know why he's still there. I actually haven't even looked up what Dane Brugler had on him. Where's Dane have him? Because a lot of times, yeah, he's got a free agent grade on Kobe Hudson. He doesn't like him. Did he even do a write-up on him? Yeah, it talks about his separation windows. Doesn't get a lot of things, but good at the catch, toughness, traits. Yeah, that comes across. Similar to KJ Osborne. Like, I just think that I like him more than he does, but that's okay.
Yeah, I think that the questions between the two and the differences with Keandre Lambert-Smith, you're going to get a guy that doesn't drop the ball, right? A 5% drop rate. This last year, a little bit more straight line speed, being able to run the 4.3. He's got some versatility there. I think those are the differences. You just have to decide what you're kind of looking for. And I think that is an advantage for Keandre Lambert-Smith is he doesn't put the ball on the ground. He keeps it. And, I think it's very important for the 49ers to not have drops. We've seen how big they were and how they can set their offense back, but also have that vertical presence. What do you think? Do you think that Hudson would be able to be a vertical presence playing an X receiver the way that Keandre Lambert-Smith would? Because I do think Lambert-Smith could push it vertically.
No, yeah, like Keandre Lambert-Smith ran a 4.37, and he's 6'1", 190 with crazy wingspan and 33-inch arms. Like, no, that's the thing. Like, and so I don't have a problem with both of these are my rush crush players. Like, right, I have a 6th-rounder on Keandre, but no, I have no problems getting either of these. Now, the 49ers have a much bigger need at X. So, yeah, I have no problem having Keandre Lambert-Smith number 1. We got to see. It looks like we like the draft paused. I can check the chat here, but it's like, hey, we're working over here. Let's keep working. Oh, there's some incorrect picks on the stat sheet. There's some issues there. That's okay. Y'all can have your issues. We'll get it fixed. But I will say this. I appreciate everybody that's watching. This is day 3 of a mock draft. We're 2 hours plus into this show, and you guys are still here. It means the world to me. And look, if you're here, here's what I need you to do. Everybody needs to do this right now. If you haven't already, go ahead and click that subscribe button. And right next to that subscribe button is the bell. Once you click on that, click all. That way, anytime we go live, you will get notified and you will be able to enter into all of the giveaways that we do for Countdown Crew. And to be honest with you, it is by far the best way to support our channel. Thank you. Hit that subscribe button, turn on all notifications. Look at this. What about Elijah Badger? NY Ben is... I feel like we're doing all the non-Ben picks, and he's getting mad at us. And by the way, Jay Higgins is still sitting there. Nobody's picked him. He says, my board is Elijah Badger and Lambert-Smith in the late rounds. I really think Badger is Stephon Diggs 2.0, hopefully without the personality quirks. I like Badger. I do like Badger, but I like the other two more. Do you have any thoughts on kind of where you see him? So let's go to Dane Brugler here. Keandre Lambert-Smith has a 4th to 5th round grade for Dane Brugler. We're going to scroll down a ways. Where is Elijah Badger is a 7th round pick. Kobe Hudson, free agent. So there's some difference on those 3 guys. Any thoughts on Badger?
Well, considering I've seen Elijah Badger play a lot in his lifetime because he played at Folsom High School,
Oh,
I'm I'm a big fan of Elijah Badger. So he's a guy that I'm definitely interested in, and so I like him. I thought his film was really good. I think in the 7th round, he's got a lot of talent. He's a guy that can move. He gets open. I think he's a fun player. I don't know if I like him more than Keandre Lambert Smith, but I do like him. I think he's talented. But yeah, dude went, from Folsom to Arizona State, then makes his way out. It's a similar path, right? It kind of
oh,
reminds me of
Elijah
other
Badger
players.
just went. Cowboys
Oh,
just took him. Look at that.
well, we don't have to worry about Elijah Badger no more.
But yeah, he took the Ricky Pearsall 2.0, Arizona State to Florida. Yeah, he did kind of the same thing, which is hilarious. But I had Elijah Badger. He's one spot behind Keandre Lambert Smith for me. I have similar grades. Tez Johnson went. He's off the board. Major Williams, defensive back. So where are we at? We're at 227. We're picking 219 now, so we're about 7 to 8 picks out. Not too bad. Not too bad. We're moving. So we have 3 picks left. Ah, man, dude, I'm sitting here and I'm just like, golly, there are some high players that Jarquez Hunter is a damn good player. Mitchell Evans is a damn good player. Yaya Black is a damn good player. Like, I have 4th round grades on these guys. That's kind of the straw. Wide receiver is the biggest need. No doubt about it. And so I'm cool with any of these guys. Now, nobody seems to like Wells. Everybody seems to be he's not even brought up. I don't even think he graded him. Yeah, he's got a free agent grade on Antoine Wells Jr., so we'll leave him out of this conversation. I feel like Keandre Lambert Smith is the pick we're hoping for. And if not, Yaya Black, Caleb Wood, man, there's so many value guys here. Oh, it's crazy that you get in the 7th round and we're at pick 219, and it's just like, I want these guys. Raheem Sanders, the Rocket just went. Fun player. I like Raheem Sanders a lot. I get him in almost every single mock draft I do with the simulators because he's always there in the 7th round. And I'm like, dude, there's no way. But the running backs, Jarquez Hunter's there, Brashard Smith's there, Taj Brooks is there, Jaquindon Jackson, Will Mullins. Oh, Taj Brooks just went. Look at that.
Just went, yeah.
We say his name, they disappear. A lot of good tight ends left. Not too many tackles. Connor Colby, what are your thoughts on him? Iowa guard.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I did look at him. I thought that he was a late round guy. I thought that there was some potential there for him to be, a consistent player in the NFL. I think there is some projection with Connor Colby. I had some question marks about him as far as, what he was going to be able to do anchor wise. But I think he's a solid player late in the draft when you're looking to build depth. The question is, would Connor Colby have a chance to make the 49ers roster this season, especially after we just took Jack Nelson? That would be the question.
Yeah. I don't think they would. Obviously, like, there's not enough. You have so many bodies in that O-line room already. It's kind of hard to, like, you're going to have to cut some guys.
Right.
But I always just value your opinion, and I'm like, ooh, if I like this guy or don't like this guy, I wonder what he thinks. Kyle Williams gone. Raheem would be a perfect fit for us. I do agree there. Ben says whenever I do mocks, the last pick is my hardest decision because there's too many good players. That's a good thing. And, the NFL draft used to be 12 rounds. You look back at some of the nostalgia stuff going on. You've got to get 6 to 10, undrafted free agents, which is a big deal, for the 49ers. And they've hit on a lot of those guys. Look at Evan Anderson, right? You look at Sam O, even though you got him a year after. Jordan Mason. Yeah, I mean, you've hit on these guys. Oh, golly. Right here. Do any of these leftovers show special teams promise? Linebackers, corner safeties, running backs, those are your special teams guys. Tight ends, you could throw in there too. Those usually are. But the 49ers, the one position they did spend on is special teams in the free agency thing. CJ Dupree just went, tight end. Alabama. All right, we're at pick 222. We are down at 227, so 5 picks out. Whew. Dude, we got to get a wide receiver, okay? We have to. But I'm just like, dude, there are some freaking studs that for some reason are not getting drafted at all. It's kind of irking me, Ant. I'm just like, dude, let's go get 3 defensive tackles. Why not?
Well, I think at this point, right? I mean, once we address a wide receiver, we don't really have, a need per se. It's all about just finding the most value. Anyone that we believe is probably the best on our board at that point, you want to take them, because those guys are going to have the best opportunity to make your football team and make an impact. And so, yeah, just getting good players. I think it is interesting too, because we have 31 other people that are doing this, or 31 other podcasts that are doing this. You're getting to see kind of how the value of certain players are in every other fan base, because certain players seem to trend in fan bases. And so I always find it interesting to see kind of how everyone's going and who's dropping and who's kind of going high.
Cody Lindbergh. Shout out to Office Space. Just went linebacker. Man, Yahya Black is there. So Dane Brugler has a 5th round grade on him. Defensive tackle, Iowa. I have, where do I have him at? I think 5th round. I might even have him higher. I have a 4th round grade on this dude. He's just staring me in the face, Ant.
We might have to just go with Yahya Black, and just, if he's just too good to pass up on, you have to go there if there's that much value.
I'm struggling. I am struggling here. I ain't going to lie. And so then, okay, so here's my problem, okay? I love Craig Woodson. You're talking special teams, like he would fit, and he has upside. He's got body, like speed, experience, special teams. Awesome. Yahya Black, I love him. We got to get a wide receiver. But after that, we're taking value picks. Gosh, dude, we don't have enough picks, Ant. We don't have enough. We have 12. This is the problem, man. This is the problem. Max and Hook went. The Rams are late. Where did I have Cody Lindenberg, linebacker? I did not have him. I didn't grade him. Max and Hook, the safety. I did grade him at a 6th round grade on him out of Toledo. I thought he was pretty good. I liked Maxon. That's a good pick. All right, so Keandre Lambert-Smith, that's going to be our pick, right? If he's not taken, I'm going to go ahead and start typing him up. We're 1 pick out now. Oh, no, we're 2. So the Cardinals, Bills, plus the Rams got kind of skipped over because they're not at the wheel. Okay, 49ers select number 225, wide receiver, Keandre Lambert-Smith. Now, let's just scroll real quick. I don't want to do the Control F because I think it messes them up. I'm just looking to make sure Keandre's has not been picked. Smile Mondon's gone, but I am not seeing Keandre Lambert-Smith anywhere. I think we are safe. I don't want to be the guy that double picks again after they screwed us last time. All right, we're good.
It's always the waiting game. Is your guy going to get taken?
Yeah, and if it is, so like let's say, okay, we're not sold on Kobe Hudson. It seems like nobody else is sold on him like I am. Dan Jackson just went.
Dan Jackson, yeah.
Good player. If so, I'm like, dude, do we just not go wide receiver now and go get the value pick because there's not a wide receiver we're in love with? So go get Yahya Black, go get Craig Woodson.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that at that point?
100% behind that. Yeah. If Keandre Lambert-Smith's not there, Andrew Armstrong is another guy that I really liked. He already went. I like Brew McCoy, but we can get other guys later. So I think that's the way I would go. If for some reason Lambert-Smith's gone, Yahya Black would probably be the best selection. A lot of value there.
Yeah, there we go. William says take the value pick. Rusty says we got wide receivers. Get a return guy or the tackle. I like the defensive tackle there. Craig Woodson says Oscar. I love Craig Woodson, man. I love Craig Woodson, but I don't think anybody knows who he is. I don't think people. You have to watch Cal tape and then say, who the hell is that guy? And then you look up Who is this guy? Did he declare for the draft? He has no social media presence whatsoever. And it's like, man, but then you look at his eligibility and it's like, oh, and then he shows up at the 49ers Pro Day. And it's like, oh, and he checks all the boxes. So then you go back and you watch tape of just him, and it's just like, dude, this guy does everything. Now, is he an elite playmaker? No. Is he going to be pushing for a starting job? No. But it's just a football player with an athletic NFL body, good physical traits, metrics, testing numbers. Just like, man, this guy checks all the boxes. He just doesn't have any hype behind him. I love me some Craig Woodson. He's a rush crush. Yeah, right here, Oscar. Just caught up with the draft. You guys got screwed on Bossa. If the guy is sleeping, you skip him. Yeah, that's all right. If this was real, then I would have thrown a bigger fit. Yeah, Nick Nash went a long time ago.
Into the third round.
Yeah, he went early. So somebody jumped on him big time. What's going on here? I mean, they're skipping around all over the place. They're resetting the times. So we got some time. They're saying 9:42. We're a couple minutes out. Other owners are not, or GMs are not as attentive as we are. KLS is a value pick. I agree. That's a need and a value pick and a fit. The biggest wide receiver issue is X wide receiver. He is an X wide receiver. Now, maybe that's how we should solve it. Who's the other X's that are available? Caden Prather? Did Zachary Franklin? I'm cool with Brew McCoy. I'm not so sure he's an X. Hey, he plays X.
Yeah,
he doesn't win with speed. He just wins because he's badass. I love Rock Taylor. Come on, guys. Let's go. What's going on in the chat? Let me check it and see. Nobody's too upset. They're trying to figure out. They don't know who to pick. Yeah, a couple other people are upset. Dan Jackson went. Come on, guys. Let's go. We're too excited here to be sitting behind the Arizona Cardinals and the Buffalo Bills.
Right?
They're changing the clock. They're bumping it back. People are trying to trade out. Like, people are trying to give up next year picks to jump back into 7th. That's a good sign. Like, get some of these guys. Who's Bills GM? Ravens is like going crazy over here. I'm not trading. Oh, they're trying to trade now. And it's like, dude, you can't do that on the clock. We're in the 7th round. It's 2 minutes.
Yeah.
We have 2 picks left. Come on, man. Y'all being turds. And we still got... We got 3 picks, and I'm pumped, dude. I'm pumped about it. And that's what's so cool. Whenever you put the time in, and I mean, shoot, there's 1,000 people watching this across all platforms, which is insane to me, and I'm very thankful. But when you start caring about what happens in pick 225 in a mock draft, dude, you're going to have the best draft experience ever. You're going to have the best draft experience ever. What you put in is what you get out, and it's fun. And the coolest thing about it is 4 years from now, even the guys that you like that the Niners don't pick, when free agency happens and you're like, ooh, I remember him, and we do all these draft write-ups and we save them all, and you bring that out, and it's just like, oh, man. And Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, every single time after free agency, we were really high on him in the draft, and when we didn't get him, they say that every single time. And so you go through this process and you put the time in, I'm telling you, you get it out. If the job of a fan is to enjoy sports in your pastime, and that's what's happening. And so thank you guys so very much. And go support Ant. Subscribe to the 49ers Cutback podcast wherever you watch or listening. This dude is killer, man. Nailed Dominic Pooney last year. That was so cool. Just being a part. I was on the show with you, but it was just like, whoa. I was excited. So we're going to nail a couple more this year. We'll be recording live all of day 2. Day 3, I'm going to jump in and out, which I'll be back at the Chapman household with a bunch of friends that are coming in town for the party and whatever else. And I'll jump on when the Niners make a pick. Are you going live all of day 3, Ant?
I don't know. I've done that in the past. I've been going day 3. I've been going live. I don't know if I am. I've still been on the fence about it. Some people have been requesting it. David Morazzo saying hopefully I would do that. But to go live for day 3, you have to have 6 hours of your life that you're willing to put. And I don't know how I did it, but last year there was one potty break, and I don't know how I made it to just one. So we'll see. If I feel up to it after, the draft party on Thursday and Friday, who knows? I might just go ahead and do it. I love doing it. But I'll probably decide that in the next few days. That way I can let everyone know. I'm on the fence though. It's a long day. Round 3 is a long day. Or day 3.
Man. Especially after round 1, round 2. It's just like this is a minor thing, and we're not adding in the crazy emotion and the franticness because it's not the biggest whatever, but it's fun, man. That's all we're doing here. Is we're just having a good time.
Rusty's comments got me cracking up.
I missed it. Sounds like a fist fight going on over there. Yeah.
And then he said for me to hire dancers during potty breaks.
Oh. That'll work, actually. You put that on the screen, just record a video, and you just push play. Jarquez Hunter just went. Arizona picked. Man, that is a great damn pick. And I know that he wasn't there for that pick, and they just auto-picked it for him. Screw you, Arizona Cardinals GM. That is a great pick. I love Jarquez Hunter. Love Jarquez Hunter, man. Dang it. So the Baltimore guy traded up, and the pick that he tried to make has already been picked.
Wow.
Already been picked. That Malachi Moore, the safety. So they traded up for a player that's already been picked. That is hilarious.
Yeah, when did Malachi Moore go?
So I'm gonna add fuel to the fire. I'm gonna say, can the 49ers submit their pick? I'm just trying to be a jerk. Yeah, what do they do? I'm with you, man. They are just having some issues. You guys remember the pop-up dancers from the pop-up ads back in the day? Yes. So we're just sitting here.
Yeah, we're just waiting right now.
We're just waiting. The Ravens traded up and had a guy in mind, but they were wrong. The player was off the board. Yeah, so now
you change the times again.
I'm submitting it. I don't care. I submitted the pick. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna laugh if the Ravens guy goes with my pick now.
Well, I mean, at least we know that if that happens, right, we're going black.
Yeah, I'm totally cool with that. You got to get a wide receiver, but I'm putting it in there. Okay, they went Hunter Wohler, the safety. I was just being kind of a jerk there.
So we did get Keandre Lambert-Smith.
Yeah, they typed it in. It's in there.
Official.
We are golded. All right, we got our X. This is a huge value pick. I love it. So, okay, let's talk through the role. What does he do? How do you phase him in? Where is he in the rotation? What's the long-term plan? And how do you handle this?
Well, I think initially, he starts taking reps at X. I think you want him to learn one position. It's too difficult in Kyle Shanahan's offense to be multiple early, but you don't really need him to be multiple early. You got Ricky Pearsall. He can play Z. Jawan Jennings can play X. He'll probably start at X. You got Demarcus Robinson as well. So you don't need a lot out of Keandre Lambert-Smith early. What you need, though, is for him to develop and be able to produce a little bit, give you some breaks, get some opportunities where you can get him on the field and get Jawan Jennings out of the X position from time to time to kind of create different mismatches and different opportunities. So this is a long play where you're getting a guy that's going to eventually be able to help your team. But when you look at the upside, when you're talking about the speed, the ability to stretch the field vertically, this will be a nice rotational piece, especially until Brandon Ayuk comes back. And then Lambert-Smith could eventually take a different role. But I think he would be a really good player. I want to know how quickly he can adjust to this offense. The quicker he can adjust, the better he can help this football team. The quicker, the better. That will free up Jawan Jennings, because ultimately that's what we want, is an X receiver to free up Jawan so he can play in the slot, and Ricky and him can kind of move around and create some mismatches that are going to help him.
Yeah, and so here's what I got. Wide receiver Keandre Lambert-Smith, 6'1", 190, 33-inch arms, huge wingspan, 4.3 speed. I mean, he's a burner. 1.53 10 cone. He's acceleration and top end speed, 34.5-inch vertical. Shoot under 4-second shuttle. 22 years old. Deep threat, run blocking, big plays. Speed and elite change of direction, which is crazy at 6'1". Like, he's shifty. And so, like, he can cut on a dime. He could fly. He could do all those things. Big play guy. 88-yard touchdown in the Rose Bowl was awesome. 19.6 yards per catch average. That's unreal. He's a big play. His best routes are deep fades and comebacks. And probably my favorite thing about him is it's the counter move, right? So he's not just a burner. The change of direction translates on his deep comebacks. So if you're going to be a corner and you're going to set the roof or the shell defense style to cover 4 quarters, 3, whatever, you're going to play on top, man, he could shut it down and come back. And it's flashes of kind of the DeAndre Hopkins. Now, DeAndre Hopkins was never a speed, but what made him elite was, man, he could run the entire route tree and had great hands. The comeback route, he's pressing for a fade. The corner sets on top. He plants, comes back. How do you defend that? It's very, very difficult. The counter moves work together. Tracks the deep ball very well. One of the better run blockers in this draft. Talk about a fit. Needs to work on the rest of the route tree, but he's got a solid foundation. Change of direction, speed, that's there. Right now, deep balls, comebacks, and run blocking. That's what he is. Just needs coaching at the NFL system. 2,100 snaps out wide. Like, this dude is an X of all X's. Let's see here. His uncle, Cam Chancellor. That's pretty cool. I wish, he's not my uncle, but that's okay. Let's see here. His best season in terms of production came in 2024. Second team All SEC. Also academic All Big Ten honors in 2022. So I think that's very important as well. So smarts, run blocking, all those things, speed. Yeah, I compared him to a lighter Adonai Mitchell. He came out of Texas last year. Kind of reminded me of that type of build with that type of speed. 5% drop rate for a deep threat. That's pretty awesome. So really, really like that guy. So, Ant, why don't you run through, shout out to my man, Rusty. Could you run through all of our picks that we've had so far? I got to take a little break here and take a quick drink of water. So can you just walk through our board and kind of what we picked?
Yeah. So in round 1 at pick 11, it was Mike Green, a defensive end out of Marshall. And I thought that was a very dynamic pick considering where everyone was and, the edge presence that you're going to need off the edge. So that was pick 11. Then in the second round, John was able to work out a trade back and he landed at pick 55. So sent 43 and 113 to the Chargers for 55, 86, and 214 and drafted offensive tackle Josh Connerly out of Oregon. So for all those wanting improvements on offensive line, it's happened in this draft, and it started with Josh Connerly. So that was a big pick. Then later on, the 49ers at pick 86 that they acquired in that trade back drafted C.J. West, a defensive tackle out of Indiana, one tech who has tremendous upside when it comes to pass rush, but is a very good run stopper. I thought that was a great pick, and I know that there were other guys, potentially that you're interested in the same range, but I thought it was a very solid pick. Then later you ended up getting the tight end Harold Fannin Jr., which was another really good pick at pick 100. So tight end addressed, and I think that's where the 49ers have been going. He also came in for a top 30 visit, so Harold Fannin Jr. is on, the list for guys that they're capable of going with. Then when you get into the fourth round, Denzel Burke was the first pick we made today, and cornerback out of Ohio State, 5'11", close to 190 pounds, a really good zone corner. I thought that was a great selection. And then right back to it at 147 with running back DJ Giddens, a value pick, too good of a player to pass up. Third round grade for John Chapman. And so he ends up coming great quickness, especially second level elusiveness. That was fantastic. At pick 160, Teddy Buchanan. He comes over. He is that Jordan Mason trade pick, and he ends up coming over. I thought that was a very good pick as well. And then in 214, Jack Nelson. That was my love pick right there. Jack Nelson, so good. Moving him into interior offensive line at guard. And then we just drafted wide receiver Keandre Lambert-Smith, speedster, who, by the way, 74% of his catches last year went for first downs or touchdowns.
Dude, I love it. And my favorite thing about what we've done is these are fit guys. You know what I mean? Like, we're not taking projections. We're not taking injured players. We're not like, these guys fit. Probably the biggest luxury pick that we have done that wasn't a huge need was Harold Fannin Jr. But golly, man, tell me that dude's not a 49er. Like, tough as hell, mean as hell, great receiving threat. Like, man, you just get to phase him in and just reap the rewards. Whether, you know, hopefully George Kittle's with us till the end of his career 4 or 5 years from now. But golly, you have backup plans in place. And so there's no more needs. Like, we plugged all of the needs. 2 defensive tackles, 1 defensive end. You got offensive line help on the outside and inside. You got a wide receiver. You got a running back. You got a tight end. You got a corner. So now we have 2 picks left, 249 and 252. We don't have to do anything. Now, what are your thoughts on the positions that probably have the least amount of depth on the 49ers roster, considering the 10 picks that we have already added? What positions kind of are at the top of your list? Like, man, we don't have much depth here still.
I think cornerback, there's potential that you need another cornerback. I think maybe defensive line, whether that's edge or defensive tackle, depending on what you think about, you know, Sam Okawanu or what you feel about Robert Beal Jr. If you feel like those guys are consistent contributors as rotational pieces, then you're feeling pretty good. You have 5 defensive ends. You don't need to go there. D-line, you know, do you need to upgrade from Kalia Davis if there's a player there potentially that's not going to get hurt? I think that's another thing to play into this. But, yeah, I think cornerback is probably the one. We did get 1 corner, but there's probably room for another guy to come in and compete, because who is Darrell Luter Jr.? You know what I mean? What is he going to be on this team? We don't know. It's coming to make or break time for him. And then you got, you know, Hodgins Tomlinson that they brought in, Trey Brown. What are they going to be? I think there's talent, but, you know, adding depth is still important.
Your boy Brew McCoy just went.
Ooh.
I do like Brew. I
That was a
do
good
like
pick.
Brew. But that's the thing, man. There are so many guys. Nazir Stackhouse, I was pretty high on him. I think he's my 2nd rated defensive tackle left on the board. Riley Mills went earlier. I did not mark him off. That's a mistake on mine. So, like, here are some of the names that are left just on my board. Let's go position by position with the emphasis of, man, these are guys that we only got 2 picks. So, safety position, I've got Craig Woodson, Elijah Clark, Shiloh Sanders. The corner position, which I think is the biggest weakness on the team, even after adding Denzel Burke, Justin Wally, Minnesota, Jason Marshall Jr., Florida, Jamari Harris, Iowa. Gosh, linebacker Jay Higgins still there. Eugene Asante still there. I love those 2 guys, man. Yeah, they're complete opposites. One of them's all instincts. One of them's all speed. Like, but golly, Jalen Walker, you talked about him earlier. Not Jalen Walker, Indiana. They're there. Defensive tackle, Yaya Black. He's the top player on my board. Junior Tafuna, Jared Harrison, Cam Horsley. Studs. Edges. There's edges. Jaw Joyner, Colin Oliver, Tyler Batty. Come on, man. Interior offensive linemen, Connor Colby, Tyler Cooper, Jonah Monheim, Cooper Mays. I like Cooper Mays. Blake Miller did not get picked yet. Tackle Clemson. I don't think we would go another one of those. Cam Horsley just went. Jason Marshall just went. And then you get to tight end. Mitchell Evans, not picked. Jake Brennenstuhl, Caden Prescorn, Eurosec, Kuthi, Luke Lachey, Bryson Nesbitt. I mean, there's just, God, this is awesome. There's just guys everywhere. Jarquiz Hunter went. I got to take him off. But Brashard Smith, perfect Shanahan guy, converted wide receiver, SMU. Like, good Lord. He's just sitting there. Brady Cook, Curtis Rourke, Dylan Gabriel, Max Brosmer, Seth Hennigan. Like, there are just guys on guys that are available that would make teams better. It's going to be a great undrafted free agent class. And I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe that Burchard is still available. I did not see that coming. Like I just
At all.
yeah, and then like Monheim, the center, Monheim from USC. There was times in this draft process that people thought he was the best center in this entire draft, and he's still sitting here in the 7th round. That's another player that's got a lot of value. The problem is the 49ers got a backlog behind Jake Brendel, so I don't know if they go late round center at this point, but you're talking about talented guys that are still available, and you brought up Yaya Black, and there's just too many guys, and I think that there's some people that were drafted in this draft that probably shouldn't have been, and then there's going to be some guys left over, but that's good. 49ers need to add a lot of good priority free agents, and I think the priority free agents this year can look at the 49ers roster and think that there's an opportunity to make the team, which means you might get some really good ones, because you look at Evan Anderson and others who have had an impact coming in. So I think that that's good news for the 49ers who need to fill out this roster.
Yeah, and I like this. Monheim, center USC, has played guard tackle. He's versatility off the charts. I think he's an undrafted free agent guy. Like, I would like to get him. But, man, yeah, and Brandon, this is kind of how I was thinking, too, as I'm running through all those positions. Finish with the trenches. Why not get Yaya Black and Jaw Joyner? Like, dude, yeah, like, you need that. Now, the value at linebacker, it's there. Do you go with the upside in Eugene Asante, or do you go with the football player and Jay Higgins? Everybody wanted Jay Higgins earlier. We could do a pick of the people. I feel like that would help everybody therapeutically. And Higgins is worth it. Like, I'm not trying to throw shade here. Like, I would not mind Jay Higgins, but I'm looking at Craig Woodson, and I'm looking at Yaya Black, and I'm like, come on, man. Those are guys that I want. Efton Chisholm III, Eastern Washington. I hated watching his day. I hate watching Eastern Washington on that damn red turf. It is just disgusting. Them and the Hilltoppers, Western Kentucky. It's just like, what are y'all doing? Boise State's like, I like the originality of it, but like, man, you try to watch 2 games on that tape, and like your head is scrambled. Like, I could not imagine being a coach in that division trying to break down that tape over and over again.
I'll tell you what's crazy too, Johnny, is you got the high schools, some of them that have went with black turf during the summer.
Texas.
Crazy hot out here. I mean, I would coach and my feet would just cook, man.
Oh my God.
It was nuts. That field turf is no joke.
So at Duncanville, we had 2 practice fields and then our turf game field. And so we would, sometimes send special teams over to the turf or whatever else. It's Texas. You're South Dallas, You would hold that thermostat down to the turf with those black pellets. It'd read 120 degrees sometimes. You got kids out there in full pads. I mean, you feel the heat coming from the sun. You feel the heat coming up off the turf. Like, that is just the worst, man. And especially those early games, you do scrimmages, like early. You do a 4:00 kickoff. Screw that, dude. That's it was terrible, man. Like, you would just walk off the field, and I'm a coach. I played in Texas as well, but like, you walk out, you could wring out all of your clothes. It was just, man, I do not miss that. I do not miss that at all. But anyway, but my son complains, he played here at El Cerrito and they have a turf field, and he would complain. I'm like, dude, you do not get to complain. He gets to complain. It's still warm here, but I'm just like, man, you have no idea.
Right?
When I was your age, I walked uphill both ways to school. I was one of those guys. That's okay. Coleman Owen went wide receiver. Where are we at? We're at pick 249. We're at 241 right now, so we're getting close. So, man, Ant, make a case here. We got 2 picks.
Jaw Joyner just went.
Jaw. That's a good pick. It
was a good pick.
Colin Oliver, man, Tyler, like, I would take 10 of these guys and add them to this roster. You know what I mean?
Yep. Marcus Harris to the Houston Texans out of Cal. So they go Cal, but they don't go Woodson. That's interesting.
Yeah, I did not grade. I know who Marcus Harris is, but I did not grade him. It was Noel Williams, Teddy, and then Craig Woodson. I'm taking Craig Woodson. I'm taking credit. Nazir Stackhouse already went, guys. Did they pull him off the board? Dude, what are they doing? They must have pulled him off the board for some reason. Because he went a long time ago. Oh, well, that's okay.
It looks like it's moving pretty quick all of a sudden.
Good. Let me just make sure the chat, they're not like saying, hey, we're just going to start throwing picks in there. I don't think so. No, they're still going. Yeah, I thought Nasir Stackhouse got picked earlier. I marked him off anyway. It don't matter. So who are your two guys, man? If you had it your way and you could, with everybody that's available right now, go off the wall, what are your thoughts? What two guys are at the top of your list?
I think Yaya Black would have to be at this point. Go ahead and get a third defensive tackle. I'm not against that. Make sure you get him. Maybe you think you're going to miss him. And then I would go, I like Woodson too. So I would not be opposed to Woodson. But I do like going elite linebacker as well, like someone with elite upside, tremendous athlete. And that's why I brought up Jalen Walker earlier. This is a dude that runs a 4.4. I mean, he moves as a linebacker, and he's got progressively better in his time in college.
Who?
And
I'm sorry, I missed the name. Who?
Jalen Walker. And so I'm just a fan of him. And so this is that moment, right? You get to that point. You brought up Gene Asante earlier, where you're looking for elite speed and athleticism, and that's the hotbed. Now, you could probably get these guys as undrafted free agents, so we can keep that in mind as well. Especially when you're talking about guys, they've done it with Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles. They did it with Azeez Al-Shire, so we could get one of those guys undrafted, but I just wanted to let people know that don't know who he is. Go check him out. It's hard to find him because everything you type wants to go find Jalon Walker, but Jalen Walker's a fun player too.
I like Brashard Smith just went. Good pick. And
that was a great pick.
You want to know what would piss everybody off? Ben would be sending me 20 emails. If we took another linebacker and it wasn't Jay Higgins, I'm just telling you right now, Sin and Ben and a lot of other people, I'm going to just forward those emails and messages to you, Ant. So I'm just telling you right now, if we go linebacker and we do not take Jay Higgins, but I am with you on the elite traits thing. That's my philosophy as well. Go get elite traits. Jay Higgins, great football player, though.
Great, and that can be an elite trait, right? Football IQ, instincts, those things can be elite traits. This is a spot where Higgins makes sense, right? They did it last year with Tatum Bethune. They ignored the athleticism and said, you know what? This dude's got instincts when it comes to stopping the run. So I'm not opposed to going Jay Higgins route. That's a conversation for me because he is really good, especially from tight end to tight end, in the box. This dude, he plays the run really well. So if you believe he can translate to playing anywhere out there, then I'm okay with it. And it's a 7th round pick, right? So you're hoping, you're kind of projecting a little bit. I prefer the more athletic linebacker because I think that's what Robert Saleh and them do. But Higgins, he's a good player. He's very solid. And so I wouldn't be disappointed about that because I do think he's a good player.
Yeah, we'll see. We're going Yaya Black first if he's still there. And Oscar says, man, it's at this point teams start calling potential undrafted free agents to be a fly in that room. Yeah, that would be a fun process where each position coach, you tell them, all right, who are your top 2 guys? Go call them. Let them know we're interested. We'll work the numbers out later. And so that's what happens. And then you prioritize your budget top down. Everybody puts all their names up. These are the undrafted free agent guys we want. Who's our priority 1? We're going to give this much money. Who's our priority 2? We're going to give this much money. And yeah, that's where that happens. And more undrafted free agents make up the NFL than almost 6th and 7th round picks combined. Undrafted free agents, huge. Should the draft go back to 9 rounds? I don't think so, because it's actually in the player's best interest to be an undrafted free agent than it is to be a 7th round pick. You have the opportunity to make more money in the long term. Your 7th round pick, Brock Purdy got screwed, man. I'm just going to be honest with you, but that's okay. Gabe Taylor, safety went. We are now 3 picks out. Yaya Black is still available. Elijah Williams, defensive tackle, went. So now we're 2 picks out, and then we pick again right off the bat. So we pick 249, and then we pick 252. So this show is going to be over here in about 5 to 10 minutes which it's been fun. We're at 3 hours. Good Lord. You are a maniac, you madman ant. I don't know if people noticed this yesterday, but yesterday was a solo show for me, and my voice was fading. And so I can feel it now. There will not be a 49ers Rush show tomorrow. I did two shows today. But there's not going to be a 49ers Rush show tomorrow. So just telling everybody. Ant, are you doing a show tomorrow? And if so, like when and where?
Yeah, we're doing the Red and Bold show. Me and Mark Adams tomorrow, 1:00. Streaming that so everyone can come by and join us. And the chat's always open. Just leave whatever you guys want to talk about. We'll get into it. Mark always comes up with some great topics to talk about, and so I kind of leave it into his wheelhouse when it comes to that. But it's always open to have that conversation. But tomorrow, 1:00, the Red and Bold show. We're gonna be simulcast on 49ers Cutback on 49ers Camelot. So give him a like and subscribe as well. Mark's a great guy.
I love it. All right, we're close. So y'all black. I always got to make sure my spelling's right. Iowa. Is it Y-A-H or Y-A-Y?
I think it's Y-A-Y. Let me double check.
I always get them mixed up. I'm curious where Dane Brugler has them.
Oh no, it is Y-A-H-Y-A.
Yeah. And they have a 5th round grade on them. Dane Brugler does.
It's a great value.
Gosh, man, I freaking love him. Here's what Dane had to say about him. He's huge, right? 6'5", 336, 23 years old. It just huge, man. He's started 27 games, played in 54, 14 tackle for losses, 5.5 sacks, 10 pass deflections in his career. That's really impressive. Man, kind of does a little – he's not fast, 5'3", 40. That's John Chapman territory. But, man, he did all the testing, which is hilarious. He did the 3-cone, ran a 7.6. Tall with a hulking frame, go-go gadget arm length, 17-size shoes. Added 80 pounds since high school, and he doesn't have bad weight on him. You look at him, looks like Javon Kinlaw, that type of human being, right? Donovan Edwards went, so we are up. I'm submitting the pick. Let me jump over to the right one. There we go. Boom. 49ers select Yaya Black, defensive tackle, and we're picking in 3 spots, so we're not going to have time here. Now, if we do go linebacker, I'm going to make the executive decision that we go Higgins just so I do not get run out of town. Not saying we have to do that. I prefer Craig Woodson. I have him way ahead on my board, and I think, man, we went 3 defensive tackles. I love that. I freaking love that. But, Ant, I'm going to allow you to make the last decision. You can go any way you want to go with this. There is no negative, but if you go linebacker, it's got to be Jay Higgins. That's the only parameters I'm going to put on you. Sorry, buddy. I love you. You know I love you.
Yeah. I think we're going to go Jay Higgins. I'm good with that because I want the potential strike on a linebacker that could.
Greg Woodson went right before us.
Oh, made it easy for us, didn't it?
We got sniped again, man. Oh, so wow.
What makes the decision for us? It's going to be easy. It's going to be the linebacker. And, the good thing is, though, we waited until now because we still got the linebacker everyone wanted earlier, and we got him now. So now we got 2 solid linebackers instead of 1.
Dude, how many Iowa players did we get? We got Indiana. So I guess we just got 2, right? Yeah, we just got 2. But, man, we got a lot of Big Ten guys. Which I guess Big Ten now is everything. But, dude, I like it. We got your guy, Ben and Sin. Y'all can't be mad at us anymore. No. Why are they giving us Hutchmaker? No. Yeah, they're trying to fix it, I think. Can I reply this? There we go. They're fixing it. No. I'm putting it in the chat. No. Y'all got it wrong. Somebody put The Chargers, I think, are leaving, and so they put their pick that is like 10 away, like 8 away. They just put it in, like in 8 picks. We're picking this guy.
Oh, gotcha.
in the main
At
chat.
256, yeah, I see that.
There we go. We got Jay Higgins.
There we go.
Oh, so we're done with that screen. We are no longer going to focus on that. We have finished the draft. Good Lord. Ant, you are a legend. Let me run through the picks real quick. Defensive end, Mike Green. Offensive tackle, Josh Connerly. Defensive tackle, Josh Farmer. Defensive tackle, CJ West. Tight end, Harold Fannin Jr. Cornerback, Denzel Burke. Running back, DJ Giddens. Linebacker, Teddy Buchanan. We went interior offensive lineman, Jack Nelson. Wide receiver, Keandre Lambert-Smith. Another defensive tackle, Yaya Black. And a linebacker, Higgins. So we got 3 defensive tackles. Do love that. We got 2 linebackers. Overall, how you feeling?
Pretty good. Yeah, I think it was solid. You got game changers earlier in the draft, especially when you got Mike Green. I think that was something that had to happen. You had to get somebody that could change the game. He does it. You got an offensive tackle potentially of the future for Trent Williams with Josh Connerly. You took care of the 3 tech with Joshua Farmer. You took care of the 1 tech with CJ West. You took care of the move tight end with Harold Fannin Jr. Cornerback depth, Denzel Burke, no problem. Running back, too much value, DJ Giddens. Like, it was just literally boom, boom, boom. You need linebacker, got it. Jack Nelson, that's my favorite pick, just so everyone knows, the interior offensive lineman out of Wisconsin. And then I thought we hit wide receiver, and we hit Yaya Black, which is value later on in the draft. And, and then even with another linebacker with Jay Higgins, I thought it was a very solid draft that addressed the issues that the 49ers face, but also got some upside when it came to elite talent, which is exactly what they have to do in this draft. You need big hits, and I think they got some good ones.
Oh, I love it, man. This has been so fun. Look at Ben. He says, praise be. Higgins started next All-Pro next to Fred. I would not be upset at all. I freaking love it. Guys, this has been an absolute pleasure. 3 hours. Whew. Fun times. Can't wait to do it for real. Thank you guys, everybody. Go subscribe to 49ers Cutback. Be with them tomorrow. And Mark, tell them I said, hey. And until next time, I'm going to take a little bit of a break now. My wife just got home from her trip. I'm tired, man. Till next time, stay strong, faithful.